Hello everyone, welcome to What If Ayanokouji Was the Superior Spider-Man Among Mutants and Inhumans Part 1. Before we start, please go support Monstro del Ingenio for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Ayanokouji is a male. Can you answer this? Are human beings all equal? Many people can give you different answers. In the eyes of God, yes. Social classes, ethnic groups, and religions, but it is no longer like that. Human beings were never equal, and even less so in these times. Mutants and humans, since their appearance, humanity had a common enemy. People fear what they don't understand. That's how it was for several years until now, and there is peace, but we both know that if that were real I wouldn't be here. And you must ask yourselves, what am I? Well, I'm not a mutant. That would mean having a place to belong. I'm not an inhuman either. That would mean having a family, and I don't have anyone worth it. Lastly, I'm not human, not anymore, so what am I? My name is Ayanokouji Kiyotaka. I am the biggest success of the clean room, the demon of the fourth generation, the greatest weapon against mutants and inhumans, and now a superior Spider-Man. Prologue. Narrated by Ayanokouji. Alright, let's get this done. Another boring day in a high school founded by the Japanese government, but that doesn't bother me. Boring days are part of the normal life of a boy my age, right? Of course, that depends on whether this world is normal, which is not true. This world is not normal, nor is high school. Have you ever heard of Kodaku? Well, it could be that this high school is similar, only instead of a single insect, it's an entire classroom against all the others. But I don't want to scare them away yet. Another fact that it is not a normal high school is that it is the first in Japan to bring together the other two races apart from humans. Inhumans and mutants live with humans in these facilities as companions and friends in order to move forward. If I say it like that, it sounds great, right? Unfortunately, this is not the case. It doesn't matter if the place seeks equality, discrimination is everywhere, and you have to ask yourself, where do I belong? The truth is. End of narration. Hey, you fell asleep again, stabs him. Ayanokouji. Ouch, he sees her. The one who had the audacity to stab our protagonist is called Horikita Suzun, a very beautiful girl with long black hair and magenta eyes, belonging to a branch of the Inhuman royal family. But she is excluded. Why? Well, Horikita, you fell asleep again, about to stab him. Ayanokouji removes his arm. Sorry, I was fascinated by your beauty, he joked, but his face didn't show it. Horikita, you want another stab, right? With her compass. Ayanokouji, please no, I apologize, covers himself. This was a routine in the relationship between these two. Were they friends? No, a couple? Much less, just a boss and her employee, having a conversation as usual. Ayanokouji, stabbing your partner is illegal. He still hasn't removed the mark from the first time shows, but his arm was unmarked. Horikita, there's nothing there, not to mention that the contract you signed included not being able to complain about the treatment or file claims of physical abuse shows. Ayanokouji, you falsified my about to touch the paper. Horikita, details saves it. That damn girl, she dared to scam my teacher? Screaming. Ayanokouji, covers ear, don't shout in my ear. Horikita, did you say something? With a book in her hands. Ayanokouji, no, not at all, relaxes with his serious face. Horikita, if you have so much free time, use it to get the class to move up in rank. Doesn't take her eyes off her reading, that's what I pay you for. Ayanokouji, I have no idea what you're trying to say, sees the beat. Yes ma'am, still expressionless. Those bastards, don't worry boss, I swear that one day I will see your smile with determination in the ear of our protagonist. Ayanokouji whispers, shut up Yuki. That voice that only our protagonist heard in his ear was an AI, an artificial intelligence in the form of a girl with long brown hair wearing a white coat. Horikita, I hope your mental illness doesn't spread to me, keeps distance. As a salvation, or something like that, the classroom door was opened by the main teacher, a beautiful woman who saw the entire class, and with an attitude more dead than that of our protagonist, Sai Chabashira begins her class. Sai, looks at our protagonist seriously and continues. Yuki, how subtle, sticks out his tongue but no one sees it. Ayanokoji, yes. The classes were boring, almost nobody paid attention. But that doesn't matter, what did matter was what followed. After his classes, Ayanokouji went to the dormitories, but not to his room, agilely dodging a security camera, clinging to a ceiling until he went down to a desolate room. Our protagonist turns on a computer. Well, actually there were several, all attached to a chair. There was also a table where I worked on something. Ayanokouji, Yuki, go online, have the spider bots report every 5 minutes, takes off an earpiece and begins to take off his uniform. Yuki, military salute, yes boss, connects. The moment he did so, the computers attached to the chair focused on parts of the city, several mechanical spiders moving around looking for criminal acts to capture. Yuki, the spider bots are up and running, boss spoke, so much meat and I'm so small. Ayanokouji, remember to lower your expressions with a red and black suit. Our protagonist sat down in the chair and looked at each of the monitors. Almost the entire city was in his hands. Narrated by Ayanokouji. True, I didn't tell them that I'd like to tell them that I'm Inhuman, since it would mean that I have family that they care about, but no. Not a mutant either, since that would mean being part of a community that supports you, but I'm not a mutant. And not an ordinary human either. I am a weapon created to eliminate the threats explained above, Inhumans and mutants, or that was what they wanted. I am not a weapon. I am superior. Chapter 1, The First Time That. Narrated by Kiyotaka Ayanokouji. But first, let me tell you how it happened, how I got here and met her. Weeks before. Answer me this, are human beings all equal? Many people can give different answers, it all depends on their beliefs. From my point of view, well. End of narration. Our protagonist's thoughts were interrupted by a small dispute up ahead. A cute girl with light brown hair, wearing the same uniform, was standing between a poor old lady and another blonde-haired student, who also had the same uniform. Girl, please, you are sitting in a preferential seat. The poor lady looks tired, give her the seat, insists. Boy, sighs, why should I? I'm tired too, it's not my fault that the whole bus is full. Standing up and giving him my seat is a waste of energy. Besides, why only me? There are more people who could give him their seat, looks at the others. Now the girl raised her voice. Would someone give up their seat to the lady? But no one stood up at first, they just looked around waiting for someone to stand up. Our protagonist tells himself that he wouldn't do it either, there would be no gain in it. In the protagonist's ear, disrespect abounds here. The one who spoke was a small voice in the ear of our protagonist, an AI that he created some time ago. Unlike its creator, this one was more animated. Ayanokouji, could it be Whisper HM? At her side there was also another girl with the same uniform. Her hair was black and her expression serious. She was also beautiful, but I won't go into details like that. Our protagonist also noticed that she was not going to get up to give up her seat. He spent a while looking at her that the girl noticed it, and the two exchanged glances. In the protagonist's ear, now you like brunettes? Laughing. Ayanokouji, shut up, looks out the window again. In the end, a young lady ended up giving up her seat and that girl thanked her, as did the lady. Ayanokouji, I'm done, looks at a robotic spider through his window. Says hello to the camera, boss insists. This robotic spider focused its camera on the expressionless face of our Ayanokouji Kiyotaka. He just ignored it, and the spider continued on its way. Ayanokouji, shut up, Yuki, whisper. Yuki. To his ear, I don't promise anything, smiles. The course came to an end, the students with the same Ayanokouji uniform came down, and our protagonist saw what would be his new home for 3 years. Ayanokouji, so this is it, huh? Walking. Just one step, one more step, and he would enter his new school, the only one in all of Japan funded by the government, and which housed humans, Inhumans and mutants in its same facilities, but moment they stop him. The call to attention stopped our protagonist, and he turned to see who called him. It was the same black-haired girl who was sitting next to him. Ayanokouji, can I help you? Sees her and turns around. On the bus, you were looking at me. Why? Seriously. Yuki. In the protagonist's ear, and who does he think he is to talk to the boss like that? Rolls up his sleeves to fight. Ayanokouji. Evaluates the situation. Would you believe me if I told you it was because of your pretty face? His gaze intensifies. What? Ayanokouji. Nothing. I thought you would get up and give your seat to that lady. Retracts. It was a waste of energy, and from what I could see you weren't going to give it to him either. Looked at our protagonist. Ayanokouji. We were thinking the same thing. I guess. Turns to continue walking. As if someone like you could think of the same capacity as me. Passes by. The girl just walked, leaving Ayanokouji behind. He didn't give it much importance and continued on his way. Yuki. Very angry. That fool. If she had my body, she would kick her digital pout. Ayanokouji. Leave her alone. I probably won't have to see her for 3 years. Do. And talk to me. Don't look at me with that lustful look, and much less touch me reading a book. Ayanokouji. I'm not surprised with the luck I have. Sighs. Not even an hour passed when he ran into that same girl again. They were both classmates, Class D, and they were sitting next to each other. Things of fate, I suppose. Yuki. Don't worry, boss. Devilish smile. I could hack the files and transfer them. Ayanokouji. I prefer that you don't. Whispers. Don't talk to yourself around neither. It's scary. Without taking his eyes off his book. Leaving aside this uncomfortable atmosphere, let's look at our protagonist's other companions. I couldn't tell you which ones are mutants or inhumans. I guess you'd have to wait for someone to take the initiative and introduce themselves. Stands up. I think it would be good to introduce ourselves, huh? Since we'll be spending the next 3 years together, what do you say? My name is Yusuke Hirata and I'm human. The one who took the initiative was a boy with light to dark green hair. His assertive attitude and the initiative he showed when introducing himself would make him a great class president. Ayanokouji. It is certain that he will become the president, he thought to himself. Yuki. I would vote for him anxiously. Ayanokouji. Who will follow now? Ah, that girl. Looks at the same brunette on the bus. This girl stood up. She was very beautiful and her personality was pleasant. She took a breath and also introduced herself. Nice to meet you. Smiles. Kikyu Kushida. I'm a mutant. Makes the silence sign. I won't say what ability I have. And so, the other students introduced themselves, several mutants and other inhumans as well as humans, a blonde girl with a ponytail, Keikaru Izawa, a very violent guy with red hair, Ken Sudu, a pink-haired girl who didn't say what she was, Eri Sakura, and the boy who had the fight with Kushida, a conceited blonde, Rokusuke Kuenji. And the penultimate one was the black-haired girl who was sitting next to Ayanokouji. She didn't see anyone. She didn't take her eyes off her book. Introducing ourselves now is unnecessary. Sooner or later they will know my name. Continued. Hirata. Come on. It would be rude not to show up when the others did. And well, that would save us time for when the sensei arrives and classes start. I speak calmly. The other students were on Hirata's side. Ayanokouji watched as the girl just sighed and stood up to introduce herself. My name is Horikita Susan. I am Inhuman. Gently hits her book against the table, but not just anyone. I am from the royal family. Sees them all. Such a statement shocked some, not enough to cause an uproar, but it was somewhat interesting to have someone from the royal family in class. Yuki, that's it. What's wrong with him? In our protagonist's ear. Ayanokouji. My turn. Whisper. My name is Kiyotaka Ayanokouji. I'm human. I don't have unique abilities. I'm someone common. I hope we get along well. He finished and returned to his seat. No one spoke. It seemed as if Ayanokouji's introduction would kill the atmosphere of the room. Only Hirata thanked him for his collaboration. Yuki. More respect for the boss. None of you even come close to his positions. Ayanokouji. Calm down. Whisper. As in every high school, groups of students began to form. Ayanokouji stayed aside. It was embarrassing, but he didn't know how to socialize. But all conversation ceased when the classroom door was opened and a black-haired woman with a ponytail entered. She was apparently the sensei of Class D. All seated with a serious expression and a rigid aura. I am Saicha Bashira. I will be your tutor for these 3 years. I will be your tutor. It must have been because of the woman's beauty. The vast majority of male and other female students were captivated by the sight of her. And there was always an idiot who asked idiotic questions, and the idiot from Class D was named Ayanokouji. He had the audacity to ask if the sensei had a boyfriend. The weirdest thing was that question made him frown a little, enough for Ayanokouji to notice. Ayanokouji, hit a nerve, leans on his desk. Sensei, pay attention, I will only say this once today. Proceeds to give an explanation. I'm going to skip this. I guess most of those who read this should know more or less what the explanation is about. Without further ado, let's continue. End of classes. Everything happened very normally. Yuki was swimming in the million points that Ayanokouji received. She was happy. Yuki, this is life with cocktail in hands. This place is great. It's like a city in high school with her sunglasses, and we can buy anything with this. Raising a point. Ayanokouji, don't get used to it. We'll have to spend points to live walking through the halls. Yuki, oh boss, if we are going to receive the same amount next year, let me enjoy. Smiles. Ayanokouji, HM? I thought I had made you smarter. Arrives at the residence. Acquiring his key, the young man went up to his floor, and upon arriving he entered his room. It wasn't much: a bed, a desk, a table, a bathroom, and a kitchen. Ayanokouji, this will be my home for 3 years. Takes a seat on the bed. It's more comfortable than I imagined. Yuki, from the cell phone. Boss, are we going out tonight? I identified several security cameras and only one route to get out. Waits for confirmation. Our protagonist only stood there for a few seconds, then took some things out of his backpack. This was a red and black suit and a small communicator that was given to him. See Christmas special. Ayanokouji, I will never forget the first time I used it. Looking at the suit. Flashback. Narrated by Ayanokouji. It wasn't long ago, also the first time I tasted what my freedom was like. Thanks to that, doesn't matter now. The suit I wore back then was red with blue. There were rumors that I had worn it, and there are more. But well, the important thing was that thanks to Yuki I managed to create a facial recognition program which I implemented in the robot spiders they saw before. Not even 2 minutes passed when he identified a serial killer named Massacre. Yuki, boss, we have one. Cheerful. Ayanokouji, let's get dressed. I put on my suit. Feeling the wind on my face, with a mask, doing these jumps that are impossible for a normal person, this feeling was my freedom, and I wouldn't lose it for anything. I had studied this man and he had the habit of holding people hostage surrounded by bombs. Ayanokouji, Yuki, track the radio waves and give me the position of those people in the air. Yuki, at your service. Military salute. He had it. About 10 blocks away, Yuki managed to identify the waves that Massacre used in his detonator. It was the first stop. In a warehouse, 4 people were tied up with C4 explosives. Ayanokouji, keep calm. I approached. Such a simple circuit was no problem. It didn't take me long, and those people would go home with a story to tell at dinner. Something I also won't forget was that a woman thanked me. It didn't mean anything. Yuki, now for the main course. The location of Massacre is shown on the glasses. Citibank. The criminal known as Massacre was holding several people hostage while on his chest was the logo of a food company. I've never heard of her. Well, I just got out, so I barely got in, and one punch is all it takes to send him flying. I almost never used my full strength. It felt good. This guy was human, a twisted one, but he was. I took his gun and shot him in the back, the legs, and finished him off sitting on his spine. I felt something break. Once again people thanked me, but they didn't leave. They stayed to see what was happening. I kept pointing at Massacre, and this one started to cry. Why was he crying? Out of fear? I read in his file that he didn't feel it. The only emotion he seemed to have was happiness. Happiness in killing others. Massacre, am I crying? Notices her tears. So this is being afraid. Crying, I'm afraid of death? Apparently that was the case. They could have let him go, but why? A week later he would be back on the streets, and this would happen again. People, kill him. Extra, yes. Extra. He wanted to kill us, he deserves to die. I listened to everything they said. Every single person here asked me to kill him. Well, I was going to do it anyway. Bang. It was also my first time killing. End of narration. End of flashback. Now we are at the top of the city. Ayanokouji managed to evade the high school's security system. With Yuki it was not difficult. Ayanokouji, Yuki, facial recognition report, I have to work on. Chapter 2, Before the Disaster. Before the Disaster. Narrated by Ayanokouji. Since I started at this school a few weeks ago, I have seen interesting things that I could only appreciate in books before. Both good and bad things. I never told them about the rumor that went around about the suit I wear, that it brought bad luck to whoever wore it. I never believed in good or bad luck, but what's in front of me tells me yes, and I have the worst. End of narration. Yuki. I didn't expect this, smiles to herself. Where our protagonist was the grocery store. He went for some free provisions. Yes, in the same store there were items that did not cost a single point. But that wasn't what Ayanokouji meant by bad luck. In front of him was the Inhuman girl Susan Horikita. She also went for free items. Now what I was referring to, I also noticed that in his basket there were items of his, that is, Spider-Man. Horikita, what do you see? Tries to hide what she had. Ayanokouji. Nothing, sees the free items and changes the subject. Don't you find it strange? Yuki. Good escape, boss approves. Horikita. HM? You mean the 0-point items? Sees them, yes. It's weird if you take into account that the points are recharged every month goes to the line. Ayanokouji. I'm sure she must have noticed. Most of the items were 0 points in Horikita's basket. They both went to the checkout. Our protagonist noticed on several occasions that the girl in front of him's eyes were shining with each of his items. Ayanokouji. Is this how it feels to know you have a fan? Not bad, keeps walking. Yuki. Don't forget. Boss raises her arms triumphantly. I am your number one fan. Continuing with the day, both returned to their residence. Of course, neither of them knew that they lived in the same building until now. Horikita. Are you going to stop following me? Continues looking ahead, carrying her purchases. Ayanokouji. I don't follow you. I live in that building, both of us actually carrying their purchases. Horikita. Sighs, a mistake. Ayanokouji. Error? Sees her. Horikita. Forget it, a human wouldn't understand the thoughts of royalty. Continues moving forward. Yuki. You Ayane, how insolent, scream in Ayanokouji's ear. Ayanokouji. Covers ear, ouch. They both entered the building together and got into the elevator together. For those who saw this, it was rare to see Horikita with someone, no matter if they were just passing through. That night. Yuki. Boss, don't you think we need a place? In his ear. Ayanokouji. A place? Half naked. Yuki. Yes, one where to store the suit. Ayanokouji. The room is enough for now, puts on the mask. Our protagonist leaves through the window of his room. He activates his camouflage ability. He became invisible and left the place. Ayanokouji, careful to avoid being detected, evaded the teachers on guard, and his spider sense alerted him to abilities capable of detecting him. Ayanokouji, as expected from a government-funded high school, glued to the wall. Jumping over the wall, Superior Spider-Man began swinging across the city buildings. Their target today, a group of drug dealers. What were they trafficking? You probably thought it was money or drugs, but no, now the new currency is science. Corpses of dead mutants. Even when dead, any weapon could be created with a part of their body. Yuki. Showing a map on the viewers. These without the possible escape places that they can use are marked boss. Ayanokouji. Send the information to the police, the ones here are mine about the warehouse. While invisible, Ayanokouji saw boxes of corpses. There were also Terrigen crystals and a kind of orange and green capsule that looks organic. Ayanokouji jumps on the drug dealers. Falling on the organic capsule and destroying it, the Superior Spider-Man caught everyone's attention. The closest ones aimed at him, but he easily disarmed them, jumped and kicked the dealer in the face, disarming him and throwing him against the other one. His spider sense alerted him, and he jumped from box to box until he returned to the roof, dodging the shots coming at him. Dealer 1. The wall crawler is here. Everyone gathers if they see him. His DNA must be worth millions. Yuki. Yes, but he must stay in his body. Manipulates the lights of the place. It was dark now. The gun scopes had night vision, and that allowed them to see a little but not much. From outside you could see the light generated by the drug dealer's shots. Very few came out, and they were caught by the police. Yuki, ready cleans hands, easy job. Ayanokoji, easy? With torn suit. Yuki, don't worry boss, you'll learn with time, encouraging boss. The AI noticed that his boss's attitude became more rigid, and when he saw what he discovered, he also became the same. On each and every box was the same symbol, a playing card diamond and the Essex Corp logo. Ayanokouji, let's get out of here. I was about to leave, but I came back and broke the logo on the box. The next day. The classes, I would like to say that they were normal, but no, and I'm not saying this about the teachers, but about the students. Chabashira-sensei was giving his classes as usual, and the students, they weren't paying attention. You could see several people chatting without measuring their voices, others were texting, and some were reading manga. The sensei noticed everything, but she didn't do anything. She just saw the whole room with some sadness and compassion. Yuki, in my time, young people were more respectful, pretends to be an adult. Ayanokouji, I believed you a little while ago. I was paying attention to class. Horikita, sees everyone, they have no respect, also paying attention. One more day, another class, the sensei finished and left. There was not much change, the noise continued. Our protagonist stopped writing and looked back at the entire class, Horikita speaking at his side. Horikita, everyone here is useless. She finishes pointing and takes out a book. Ayanokouji, I assume you're not included, right? Horikita, of course, only I surpassed everyone here without taking her eyes off the book. Ayanokouji, as you say, stands up. Hey, Ayanokouji-kun calls him. The person responsible was a mutant student named Kanji Ike, who was accompanied by Sudo and Haruki Yamauchi, another mutant student. The three of them, you could say they were the three musketeers, and every group of musketeers must have a squire. That was Ayanokouji for them, although he didn't care. Ayanokouji, is something wrong, Ike-kun? Sees it. He approached our protagonist along with the others. They were very close. Surely they were about to ask something intimate and important. Ike, you're dating Horikita-san, right? Smiles. Well, intimate, yes it was. Important at all. Ayanokouji had his typical expression combined with confusion and intrigue. How the hell did they come to that conclusion? Ayanokouji, not at all, denies it flatly. Ike, don't deny it. Several eyes come out of his body. I'm very observant. Ayanokouji, really, shakes his head. Yamauchi, really? We always see you together. Ayanokouji, we sit together, it's different, explained. Ike, and you only talk to each other. Ayanokouji, as I said, he sits next to me and I listen to most of the things he says, explained again. Sudo, and she's pretty, also intelligent, you know, it makes sense. I don't see her with someone like you, finished. Yuki, I'm so excited to get them expelled, serious. Ayanokouji, that last bit hurt, he just sits next to me. Ike, nah, if we talk about beauty, Kushida-san beats her by far, thinks about her, guys, I'm in love. Yamauchi, I understand you, friend, sighs, it's like seeing an angel. Ike, can you imagine that being his ability? Excited. Now the conversation turned from Ayanokouji and Horikita to Kushida. This was a hard blow for Ayanokouji. So she went back to her seat. Yuki, annoys hormonal young people. Ayanokouji, whispers, leave them. Returning to his seat, Ayanokouji felt Horikita's gaze. He tried to ignore it, but it was unsuccessful. Ayanokouji, can I help you with something? Sees her. Horikita, what did they talk about? Asked without shame. Ayanokouji, nothing important, wanted to avoid talking about the subject. Horikita, really? I thought I heard my name, sharpens her gaze. Ayanokouji, spying on air conventions is wrong, was the only thing he said. Horikita, no, I'm the topic of conversation, I was expecting an answer, okay? Ayanokouji, they asked me if you are my girlfriend, looked ahead. Horikita's glare increased. She was killing our protagonist with that look. Horikita, I hope you have denied that absurd statement seriously. Ayanokouji, Malicious thought I may have said that we are. Bang on table. Enduring the pain, Ayanokoji covered his mouth to prevent himself from letting out a moan due to the compass Horikita nailed into his arm. Ayanokoji, is he bleeding? I think he's bleeding. Holding in. I was joking. I said we're not even friends. Horikita, you better, as if it were a gun, keep the compass. She stood up from her spot and walked away, brushing her hair aside, leaving Ayanokoji behind. Yuki. Annoyed. How insolent, how dare you, I'm going to kick you, boss, you want to seem normal but you should have moved your hand. Ayanokoji. Believe it or not, my spider sense didn't alert me. Whisper. Pool time. This would be one of the favorite classes for male students. Why? Simple, swimsuits. Ike. Aw, sighs. Seeing Kushida-san in a swimsuit gives me years more life. Excited. Yamauchi. I won't deny it, it's like honey for the eyes in the same way. Ayanokoji. Are you just here to see them in swimsuits? Just like everyone else, she was in a swimsuit, but a full body one. Ike. Shhhh, here they come. He sees her. From the bathroom, all the girls from Class D came out dressed in their outfits. There were pretty girls, but the ones that stood out were the following. Ike and Yamauchi went crazy, but they hid it well, and just watched. Ayanokoji noticed that other classmates were unwell in the class. He saw them on the benches, Kei, Sakura, and a boy with glasses who was nicknamed Sensei. Why? Who knows? Sensei. Come here, guys, calls them. We will start with a small evaluation. I will see how good you are in the water, and for those who do not know how to swim, do not worry, you will be taught. It will be necessary. Sees them all. Necessary? It may be, but one wouldn't believe that everyone would use that skill in their daily life for different reasons. Yuki, if you like, I can look up the itinerary of academic activities about to invade the academy server. Ayanokoji, please stop joking about that size. Horikita, don't you find it strange? Sits next to him. Ayanokoji, what seems strange to me is that you sit next to me knowing the things that our classmates believe, was what he said. Horikita, ignores him. They make us take this class, and if you don't know, they teach you from scratch. Ayanokoji, isn't that the case in all high schools? Horikita, do you live in a cave or what? Sees him, Ayanokoji, what's wrong? Feels analyzed. Horikita, I hadn't noticed it before because of the uniform. You have good muscles for a human. Do you play any sports? Yuki, stop eating it with your eyes. Defensively. Ayanokoji, no, he answered, I only do piano and calligraphy. Looks back at the pool, and yes, it seemed strange to me. The class went by like any other, and so did the days until the month was up. Maybe it was a coincidence, but the weather was cloudy. Why do I say a coincidence? Because the atmosphere of the class was more or less the same. No one had been charged 1,000,000 points that were promised to them until Yuki complained in the protagonist's ear. Ike, it must have been a mistake, right? With his cell phone in his hands. Sudu, it happens to me too. What does this mean? Annoyed. The other students were also like that, all except Ayanokoji, Horikita, Kushida, and Hirata. The last two were trying to calm the class down. Hirata, listen, the only thing we can do now would be to wait for Chabashira-sensei and for her to explain to us. I speak calmly. Kushida, yes, Hirata-kun is right. Getting upset won't solve anything. I speak angelically. Karuizawa, Hirata-kun is so cool. Hugs him. Ike, if Kushida-san says so, I'll do whatever. Animatedly looking at his crush. Remember Karuizawa? In the past month she has become very close to Hirata. There are already suspicions that they are coming out. On the other hand, Ike has not made any progress with Kushida, nor can he really. But all the hustle and bustle ended when Sensei came in with her typical cold look, not as much as Ayanokoji's, but it was cold. Chabashira, take a seat, I'm about to write the kind of. Hirata, stands up, excuse me, before we start we would like interrupted. Ike, Chabashira-sensei, I didn't receive my 1,000,000 points, nobody really. There must have been a mistake with the academy. Spoke. She didn't turn around instantly, she just stood there for a second and our protagonist noticed a smile before turning around. She had written from A to D and next to the first 3 letters was a number, and next to the D was a 0. Chabashira, mistake? Yes, you are right, there was a mistake. But not in the academy looks at them, the mistake is you. The sensei's words upset some of the class, while Ayanokouji remembered a brief conversation he had with a third-year student, who called them mistakes and useless. Sudu. Oi stops violently. What are you referring to? Chabashira. Seriously, exactly what I said. The mistake is in you and you better prepare yourselves. This is an elite academy. Chapter 3. Old Acquaintances. Old acquaintances. Chabashira. And that is the reason, in short, they are at the bottom of the food chain, explained. Telling them that they are practically a mistake and useless to many, Yuki also felt insulted, more so by her boss. She knew very well that he was not useless. But he didn't care, although at first he didn't know the reason. Now that he knows the value of Class D, he feels satisfied. But when he turns around and sees Horikita's reaction, he notices that she was also surprised. Ayanokouji. So she didn't know, class continues. The last thing he said was that if anyone failed the last exams, they would be expelled. This further lowered the spirits of the class. It was really crazy. End of classes. Ayanokouji packed his things, ready to leave, but noticed Horikita's abrupt and erratic exit from the class. Ayanokouji, what will happen to him? Ignores him and decides to leave. But at that, our protagonist's spider sense went on alert. He didn't show any surprise, he just felt someone grab him by his jacket. Excuse me, takes it from his jacket. Ayanokouji-kun? Our protagonist turned around to meet the class idol girl, Kushida, who had an adorable look towards our protagonist. Ayanokouji, did she activate it? It doesn't make sense. Can I help you with something? Turns to look at her. Kushida, yes, can we talk? Looks at him tenderly. In one of the hallways. Both young people and the AI were in a hallway near their classroom. They remained silent until our protagonist decided to break the ice. Ayanokouji, hey, interrupted. Kushida, tell me, you and Horikita-san are very close, right? Smiles. Ayanokouji, not at all, he answered without hesitation. Really again? Yuki, here everyone thinks they love him, a little sick. Kushida, really? Since you're the only one he talks to, approaches our protagonist. Ayanokouji, I can assure you that it is not something that we want, notes the closeness. Kushida, you see, I need your help, looks into Ayanokouji's eyes. Ayanokouji, in what? Very close, despite that his expression does not change. Kushida, would you help me become friends with Horikita-san? Cute face. There it was again. Ayanokouji's spider sense activated when the girl made that face. He was about to refuse, but... Ayanokouji, that face, no one would resist that face. Touched, don't continue. Yuki, no boss, resist, you can do it. If you could fight psychological torture, you can do this, cheers. But it was in vain. Ayanokouji's will was strong, but not so much in the presence of a pretty girl. He took her by the shoulders, moved her away from his face, noticing that she had a brief blush, and responded to her request. Ayanokouji, okay, I'll do it, I'll help you, still serious. Kushida, thank you very much. Ayanokouji-kun smiles. Boss, little boss, you disappointed me, crying in a corner. That night, Ayanokouji stayed in his room. This time he didn't go out to the streets, but instead mentally prepared himself for a more difficult mission, calling Horikita Susan. Yuki, Rocky Balboa style. Very well, boss. It's not that difficult, punching the air, just call and talk. Ayanokouji, well, dials the number. After waiting a short while, Horikita answers the phone as politely and happily as possible. Horikita, who are you and what do you want? Seriously. Ayanokouji, Kiyotaka speaking, answered. Horikita, Ayanokouji-kun? I ask, where did you get my number? Ayanokouji, well, that doesn't matter. Are you free tomorrow afternoon? Horikita, I think so. Why? Ayanokouji, I want to invite you to Ko. They hung up the call. Yuki, ha, what a Bulgarian woman, offended. But it wasn't long before the Inhuman called again, and our protagonist answered. Ayanokouji, I? Horikita, at 2, Cafe Saketsu, you pay and don't be late, hangs up again. Ayanokouji, But it was too late. Silence filled the room. Was this considered a victory? Well, it was time to inform Kushida. With Kushida. She was just getting out of the shower when her phone rang. She put on a towel and answered Ayanokouji's call. Ayanokouji. It's me. I managed to get him to go. We'll meet at the Saketsu Cafe, although I couldn't tell him you were going, explained. Kushida. Thank you very much, Ayanokouji-kun, and don't worry about it, adjusts the towel, it will be a surprise. Ayanokouji. Well, I'm not interrupting anything, right? I ask. Kushida. Not at all, smiles. You just caught me without clothes coming out of the shower, laughs. Ayanokouji. I'm sorry, apologizes. Kushida. It's nothing, did you imagine her naked? Playing. After a brief conversation and Kushida playing around a bit by telling Ayanokouji that she was only wearing a towel, they went to sleep. Day after. In the afternoon after classes, Ayanokouji headed to the cafeteria. Upon entering, he felt out of place. Friends eating cakes, dates everywhere, and her classmate Kenji Rokusuke surrounded by women. Ayanokouji. No wonder he runs out of points quickly, and many of them are from higher grades, looked at him out of the corner of his eye. After that slight feeling of discomfort, he sat at the table furthest from the couples and closest to the groups of friends. Ayanokouji. Someday I should go back with friends if I had any, sat down to wait. It wasn't long before I saw Kushida enter, but not alone. She entered with a group of her friends. She greeted him before sitting down with them and ordering something. Then the girl who was supposed to arrive finally arrived. Horikita walked in and looked around for our protagonist. Upon noticing him, she walked over to the table and sat down. The curious thing was to see that the girl was a little more dressed up than usual. Horikita. I'm surprised you came early, looks at our protagonist. Ayanokouji. I didn't wait long if that's what you were asking, he replied. Yuki. Don't be modest, boss, she should be grateful, as always cheerful. The waitress brought the menu and Horikita received it. She wanted to be the first to choose. Horikita, and? Ayanokouji, and? Sees her. Horikita. The reason why I'm here with you at the cafe. Still looking at the menu. Ayanokouji. Well, Spider, since I prefer that she explains it to you, that was her answer. Horikita. Her? Stopped looking at the letter. Kushida approached from a more distant table, and upon seeing her, Horikita gave our protagonist a serious look. I had seen her serious many times, but this seemed to be the first time I noticed her somewhat upset. Ayanokouji. Don't kill me with your gaze, please, avoids looking her in the eyes. Kushida-san. Kushida. Hello, Horikita-san, what a coincidence, smiles. Horikita. Very serious, no coincidences, this was a trap. Kushida. Please don't see it like that, I tried to talk to you before but you always ignored me, pout. Horikita. And I will do it again, standing up. Ayanokouji. Please tries to stop her, all she wants is to talk to you, her expression doesn't change to be your friend. Horikita. So much perseverance for a friendship is not normal, of course you don't know about that low blow, you should look for something more serious. Kushida. Actually yes, looks at Ayanokouji. Sorry for lying, I can explain if you let me, Horikita-san. The girl sat next to each of them, she settled down and looked at the two of them. Kushida. Haha, this is weird, a human, an inhuman and a mutant talking like friends, has something like this been seen before? Horikita. Speaks fast, annoyed. Ayanokouji. I don't know if my spider sense is alert for Horikita-san or Kushida-san, uncomfortable. In short, she accepted still seriously, she listened to everything Kushida said. Her other objective was to create study groups with her help and thus avoid expulsion. Kushida. What do you say? To both, isn't it a good idea? Ayanokouji. I'm also part of the plan. Points. Horikita. I won't deny that making study groups is a good plan, but I'm not willing to participate seriously. Kushida. Why? Looks at her with a finger on his chin. Horikita. I think the test will be the necessary cleaning that the class needs, so the useless students will leave drinking the coffee she asked for. Kushida. That's a sad way to see your classmates, with a pout. Ayanokouji. I think my purpose is over here, so about to leave. Horikita. You stay still pointed to Ayanokouji. I don't consider people who are below me as companions. An Inhuman of the royal family doesn't need people like that seriously. Ayanokouji. But seriously, I can do it now. He tried to leave. Kushida. Wait a minute, Ayanokouji. They stop him again. You could try it. And keep in mind that if we lose our companions it would cost us points in the future, they continued. This discussion seemed like it would continue for a while. Ayanokouji was about to pray for a miracle to get him out, even though he didn't believe in them. Yuki. Boss, there's a robbery in progress. I received the coordinates from the Spiderbot's reports. Ayanokouji. Thanks, stands up. I have to go. I'll leave the rest to you. Oh, and tell me how much I owe to Horikita. Kushida. HM? Looks at the brunette. Horikita. I made him pay for everything if he came. Are you done to leave? Kushida. No, there's still time. Smiles K. Leaving the cafe, our protagonist runs to the bedrooms and takes out his suit, which was hidden in the kitchen. Yuki. I'm still thinking about looking for a safer place. Goes to his boss. Ayanokouji. Ignores her. Give me a report. What do you see? Yuki. I don't see anything. Reports. Ayanokouji. What? Yuki. The authorities report the theft, but the cameras do not detect anything. Tries to find the error. Ayanokouji. Puts on mask. At the crime scene. Our protagonist in his suit arrived at the scene, and as Yuki said, there was nothing. The place was destroyed, there were signs of explosives, but the money was still there. Ayanokouji, changing vision to different spectrums, gets closer. Yuki. At your command. Does it? With the different visions I come to the conclusion that what opened the wall was something whose heat melted the concrete. Yuki. Approximately 30,000 degrees. Boss looks for something similar. Also that some explosive object damaged nearby areas. There was no pattern. Everything was chaos even for a small-time robbery. Yuki. It seems as if... Ayanokouji. As if this were a spider sense. Jumping to the side, our protagonist avoids what appeared to be a pumpkin bomb. What happened, Ayanokouji? Didn't you notice my game before? Ha ha ha. In the air. Our protagonist managed to save himself from the explosion, but he was somewhat upset. I hope to never hear that horrible laugh again. Ayanokouji. That laugh, I hate that laugh. Serious. Getting back up, our protagonist saw that person whom he hoped never, but seriously never to see again. Ayanokouji. You about to say his name? Let me stop you there. Shuts him. I don't use that name anymore. Hobgoblin is that now. Smiles and takes out a sword. On guard, our protagonist was ready to fight, but then Yuki spoke and what she said put him on even more alert. Yuki. Boss, who are you talking to? I ask. Ayanokouji. With the weird guy with the wings. Serious. Yuki. But I don't see anyone there. Reported. The Hobgoblin just laughed. Ayanokouji didn't know it, but he interfered with his signal. That's why Yuki couldn't see him. Hobgoblin. I waited a long time for this. Descends to attack. Chapter 4. Elf. Flashback. Years ago, we can see a very small Ayanokouji in a robe, his gaze expressionless, and he was on a stretcher. Like every day after studying, he had to be taken to be operated on, but he was not the only one. At his side was another boy like him, only instead of an expressionless face he had a big, scary smile, and he also had strange skin pigmentation. And finally his laugh, that annoying laugh that always came out of him no matter what happened to him. Ayanokouji, could you please shut your mouth? She wanted to cover her ears but her hands were tied. Oh come on, it won't kill you to put a smile on your face. Looks at him. Ayanokouji, if I continue with you, I would like that size. Ha 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 ha, friend, you better start enjoying it. You never know when you'll have your last laugh. Laughs. Ha 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 ha. That guy's laughter echoed throughout the place until they were both taken to the operating room. Ayanokouji, could you anesthetize me now? Art. At the moment. In the air, our protagonist struggled to bring down the goblin, while Yuki tried to fix the camera failure. Hobgoblin, come on Ayanokouji, are you going to make me do this? Let's stop playing around and get back to fighting. Yuki, boss, I don't see it. I'll try to restart the system. Reported. Ayanokouji. Hit in the chest, take your time, I'll wait here. Dodges. Spider-Man managed to evade the flaming sword by falling to the ground. He got up and grabbed a tire, using it as a projectile towards the goblin. Hobgoblin cuts him with his sword, desperate. Ayanokouji, not even a bit, jumps and shoots his web. Wanting to reach the goblin, he shot his webs towards the building and created momentum to charge at the goblin. The goblin stopped his wings to fall towards his enemy wielding his sword. Both collided and repelled each other. Spider-Man ended up breaking a wall when he crashed, while the goblin fell on a car, smashing it to pieces and breaking a wing. Hobgoblin, shit, feels his wing. Ayanokouji, keep in mind that I was reasonable with Ayanokouji. He stood on the rubble of the wall that was destroyed with his body. Yuki, boss, are you okay? Checks his vital signs. He only has a few wounds and some injured bones reported. Ayanokouji, standing, you know I prefer to be here than to be the intermediary between those two stretches to work. Coming out of the building, I expected to see the goblin ready to fight, but he was gone. The car he landed on was lying there wrecked. Ayanokouji, tell me the reset work. Looks at his cameras. Yuki, I managed to restart the cameras and facial recognition. I will inform the authorities to be careful. Ayanokouji, do it. I'll stay here. Jumping and starting to swing, create a perimeter of 4 streets. The officers began a search around. The bad thing was that they were searching on the surface, and the goblin was underground. In the sewers, we can see the elf walking hurt and with one of his wings broken. He leaned against a wall. Goblin, I failed, I failed, I failed, I missed this. Ayanokouji, I wish you had agreed to come. Now you will make me do something very funny. Smiles like a maniac. The reasonable goblin is over. Later, the search led nowhere, and Ayanokouji retired to his room in the residence. It was there that he took Yuki's words about a place for his suit seriously. The reason? Simple. The study session was successful with Susan Horikita and Kushida Kikyu students, and so they had to celebrate, and the best place to celebrate was Ayanokouji's room. Ayanokouji, why in my room? Looking at them all. Ike, your room is the cleanest, mine is messy. Drinking soda. Sudu, I don't have time for bask sitting on the floor. Yamauchi, so therefore your room was the most suitable. Smiles. Ayanokouji, none of them gave me a valid reason to use my room as a meeting center. Yuki, in his ear, boss, I told him, if he hadn't stuck his suit to the bathroom ceiling they would have seen him already. Ayanokouji, sighs. Kushida, come on guys. Smiles, be polite to our host. Ayanokouji looks at him with her glass. If it makes you feel better, I'll help you. Even Horikita-san can. Looking at her. Yes, the black-haired Inhuman was also drinking her can of soda for some reason. Horikita, don't count on me. I've already done enough with classes taking. The most I'll do is clean up my trash. Ayanokouji, at least it's something. I looked at the bathroom from time to time. At night. And as expected, everyone left, leaving a huge mess in their room. Ayanokouji, thanks for helping. Both of you. Looks at them. Horikita, I'm only taking my things, I'll leave you with the rest. She left. They both watched her leave and continued picking up the trash. Ayanokouji, you can go, I'll take care of the rest with bag in hand. Kushida, don't worry, I'll be happy to help you. Smiles. Ayanokouji, but doesn't it bother you to be alone with a man in a room? Picking up a can. Kushida, I'm pretty sure you won't try anything. Calm down, or would you be able to? Pretends to be nervous. Ayanokouji, spider sense activated for nothing. We're done. Closes bag. Kushida, it was fun, we should do this more often. Get the gang together and hang out cheerfully. Ayanokouji, sounds good, but not in my room please. Tired. Kushida, see you tomorrow. Ayanokouji-kun passes near him. His spider sense was activated again. It activated every time she passed near him, and that was worrying. Yuki, there is something strange with her. Serious. Ayanokouji, yes, this. Looked at a phone. Could it be Kushida's? Yuki, the academy records say yes, it is hers. Reported. Ayanokouji, I think we still have time for her. Leaves her room. Outside the apartment complex, our protagonist looked around for the girl, but nothing happened. He moved forward and managed to see her back. He followed her to a remote place, saw her looking through some handrails and wanted to approach her to return her phone but Kushida, starting to kick the bars, that damn bitch, who does she think she is? Continued, does she think that because she is royalty she is not on our level? Ayanokoji continued watching and saw something interesting. The girl changed shape. Her face was now like Horikita's. Ayanokoji. So that's his ability, huh? Takes a step but steps on a branch. The noise reached Kushida's ears and she immediately returned to her original form, turning back with a serious look. Kushida. Who did you want me to be? Show yourself very serious. Yuki. Boss, he still doesn't know who we are. Let's take a big leap in, boss. What are you doing? The AI screamed as she saw her boss come out of his hiding place, revealing himself to the shapeshifter. Kushida. Ayanokoji-kun looks at him and approaches. Ayanokoji. Hello, you forgot your cell phone and I wanted to return it, shows it. Our protagonist saw her approach and take her phone. She stared at Ayanokoji and asked him. Kushida. How much did you see since when were you watching seriously? Ayanokoji. This is weird, noticing something since you kicked the poor handrail. Yuki. Boss, I know that sincerity is for gentlemen, but don't go too far, scream. She saw him, she knew too much, she saw his ability, and she also knew of his hatred towards a certain person, so she took action. I grab Ayanokoji's hand and quickly bring it to my chest. Kushida. If you say anything, if you mention anything about my ability, if you tell anyone, I will tell everyone that you tried to grape me. Squeezes Ayanokoji's hand on her chest. I will show my uniform and your fingerprints will be enough as proof. Understood? You would think this blackmail situation was serious, and it should be serious for Ayanokoji, but no. What Ayanokoji paid most attention to was the feeling and sensation he got from touching the chest of the girl in front of him. Ayanokoji. Very soft, thought him, understood, nodded. Yuki. Boss, I'm disappointed, sighs. The girl let go of his hand, then stepped away and looked away from our protagonist before taking a breath and looking at him again with a smile. Kushida. Well, Ayanokoji-kun, see you tomorrow, says goodbye. Our protagonist only saw her leave, and then saw her hand again. That will be something he will never forget. Yuki. Perverted, boss, sighs. Ayanokoji. No, it's just that my spider sense didn't activate until she smiled again. Kushida, which one is the real you? Leaving everything behind, the boy was heading back to his rooms, but took a detour to grab something from the vending machines. Yuki. Arriving at the room, you will wash your hands with water and detergent, speaking. Ayanokoji. Yes, grabbing the can, but here's something, HM? Following the sound, Ayanokoji heard a somewhat unusual conversation. The ones having the conversation were Horikita Suzun and the student council president. Horikita. Her brother. I don't understand. I got here. I managed to get in because why? She is silent. Ayanokoji. So that's Horikita's brother. He didn't seem like it considering the expression he had during the presentation. Kept looking. Yuki. According to the information I have, his name is Horikita Manabu, older brother of Horikita Suzun and head of the royal branch of Japan of the Inhumans. I report. Ayanokoji. Interesting. Back to the conversation. Manabu grabbed one of his sister's hands and with his strength he pushed her against the wall and pinned her there. Manabu. I warned you not to come to the academy. Seriously, it's already enough of a shame that the Terrigen didn't give you powers and now you're in Class D, with the ruined ones. Horikita. That is a mistake of the academy. You know very well that I am superior to those. A groan of pain. Ayanokoji noticed how Manabu put more strength and prepared a direct blow to his sister's torso. Manabu. That's still a problem. You don't accept what you really are about to hit him. The girl just closed her eyes waiting for the blow, but it didn't come. She opened her eyes and saw how Ayanokoji stopped her brother's blow. Ayanokoji. I don't have siblings, but I'm sure this ode dodges. Manabu began to throw direct blows at vital parts of our protagonist's body, but he managed to dodge them agilely and return some, having to reduce his strength to do so. Manabu. You move well. Do you practice any sport? Any martial arts? On guard. Ayanokoji. None, I just practice piano and calligraphy. Claps hands. Manabu. looked at the boy and then at his sister. You have a week to leave or we will end whatever this is turned around. Ayanokoji watched him leave and then approached Susan to try to help her. Ayanokoji. He extends his hand but the girl pushes it aside. Horikita. How much did you hear? Annoyed. Yuki. How disrespectful. Angry. Don't help him anymore, boss. The girl stood up and brushed off her clothes, searching her head for something but nothing, and her face became more distressed. He didn't hear our protagonist's response and left. He just walked over to the vending machine and sat there. Yuki. Ready? Let's go. Waiting to leave, boss. The AI watched as Ayanokoji walked up to the girl and took a can out of the machine and gave it to her. Horikita. Takes it. You don't interrupt it. Ayanokoji. I heard since you don't have inhuman powers. Sincere. Horikita. Sighs. And what? Are you going to make fun of me? Treat me like I treated you before? Taking a drink. Ayanokoji. I'm not resentful. Taking your brother, he interrupted. Horikita. How did you deal with it? Ayanokoji. Beginner's luck. Taking. Horikita. Good luck? My brother is a black centiron in 4 arts. Looks at him. Ayanokoji. I'm very lucky, sometimes good or bad. They keep looking at it. I already mentioned it. I only do piano and tea ceremonies. Horikita. Before you said piano and calligraphy. Seriously. Ayanokoji. Piano, calligraphy, and tea ceremony. Continues drinking. Yuki. Boss, you better stop talking. Embarrassed. Horikita. Very suspicious. Ayanokoji. Well, you can see it however you want. Finishes his can. Horikita. Throws her can. I'll take it as a today for you, tomorrow for me. Leaves. But if you tell anyone. Ayanokoji. Yes, they already told me before. Expressionless face. When she left, Ayanokoji was about to throw away his can, but a shine on the floor caught his attention. Ayanokoji picks it up. Is it a hair clip? What she had in her hands was indeed a hair clip in the shape of a spider, her symbol. Yuki. It's sure to be from that disrespectful girl. Throw it away, boss. It's already broken anyway, without giving it any importance. But he didn't throw it away. He just grabbed the pieces and put them away before going to his room. The next day. One day like any other, students were studying, teachers were teaching, and in the bathrooms a bomb exploded. Hobgoblin. While coming out of a hole, this certainly makes up for the smell of the drain, don't you think, guys? Smiles. From the same hole where the hobgoblin came out, several soldiers wearing goblin masks came out armed and ready to fight. Hobgoblin. Now it's the bad goblin's turn to fix the problem moving forward. Chapter 5. Invasion Part 1. Invasion Part 1. Minutes before in the classroom D. Things were normal, except for the nerves about exams and the fear of losing points, so everyone paid attention. But as the saying goes, another day of life. I don't know what else follows, but it makes sense. Returning to the main topic, the students were finishing Chabashira-sensei's class, and she was leaving the past to the next one. And like any normal high school, the students take advantage of the opportunity to chat until the next student arrives. Ayanokoji. We have a few minutes. Stands up. Yuki. Boss, I feel like we're wasting our time looking at him. Ayanokoji. Maybe, but we'll see what happens. Getting closer. Our protagonist approached Horikita Susan with one goal. This managed to get the girl's attention, who looks at him with an annoyed look. Horikita. Do you need something? Looks at him. Ayanokoji. Yes, it will be quick, it's just that yesterday. Interrupted. With a little more annoyance, the girl abruptly stood up and left the room, waving her hand at our protagonist. Yuki. Couldn't it be more subtle? Sighs and watches as his boss leaves. Outside, the spider sense was activated when he saw Horikita's gaze. In response, Ayanokoji took a step back. Horikita. I thought we wouldn't talk about that topic. Annoyed. Our protagonist fell silent as his spider sense activated again. But not because of Horikita and her deadly gaze, it was something else. Yuki searched the cameras and only found an explosion. Yuki. There was an explosion in the bathroom, sir, but I don't see anything else. I'll send some spider-bots report. Ayanokoji. Thinking, just in case I should prepare myself, I'll tell you later. I just remembered that I left something for the next class about to leave. Horikita, wait! You brought me here for nothing? Somewhat irritated. Ayanokuji, no, you walked here, but I'll tell you later for leaving. Horikita, and why not now? Gets in her way. Ayanokuji, but the next sensei will come and. Horikita, yes, that's why you should hurry up, impatient. Yuki, boss, they are goblins, they entered the high school, alerted, we must move now. Ayanokuji, I must hurry in spider sense. Yuki, boss, get out of there, scream. Horikita was about to speak again, but was kicked in the stomach by Ayanokouji to push her away, and at the same time the wall next to them exploded, burying Ayanokouji in rubble. The students from room D came out to see, and Hirata and Kushida helped Horikita stand up. The girl only saw the place where our protagonist was buried. From the exploded wall, a small group of armed goblins emerged and aimed at the students. Goblin 1. Class D, raise your hands and move slowly, looks at the student buried in the rubble. It doesn't matter, collateral damage. In that small second of distraction, Hirata extended his hands and created a cloak of force in the hopes that his companions would escape. But he didn't count on the fact that one of the goblins was rigged up with a force field, attaching an EMP generator, and this destroyed the field and put the president in the car to sleep. Goblin 2, you, the muscular one in yellow, take him to Kenji. Kenji, I'm sorry, Mr. Goblin, but I points at his face. Don't worry, I live off my audience, lifts Hirata. The goblins paid no attention to our buried protagonist, and neither did the students, except for one or another who watched him out of the corner of their eyes. When the group was out of sight, Yuki informed Ayanokouji that he could leave now. Ayanokouji, growled as he emerged from the rubble. What a luck stretches. Yuki, boss, the goblins don't appear on the high school cameras, but with the help of the spiderbots I can give you a silent route to the dormitories. Analyzing. Ayanokouji, okay, and notify the authorities. Let's go get a more appropriate outfit for the situation. Opens a window and becomes invisible. Coming down with his organic spider web, he moved between the halls of the high school. Very, very far away. On an island in the middle of nowhere, a computer with plant features received an alert of an attack, the attack on Tokyo High School. They attacked, the school reports. Do we know who? No, the cameras only show explosions. Looking at the security cameras. I say we go and meet the new generation, smiles. Professor? Looking at a man with an X-shaped helmet. This man saw the monitors and with a smile gave his consent to go. My X-Men, go and protect the youngest. Returned. Ayanokouji moved in total silence, avoiding the goblins and other evacuating students. Apparently the goblins were only interested in the first years. Ayanokouji, they're coming for me. They must have found out that I studied here. That means he knows, whisper. Yuki, boss, the authorities are outside, and the students are in the auditorium, I report. While taking off his clothes, our protagonist listened attentively to the words of the AI. He asked for a detailed map of the facilities and places where he could infiltrate. Ayanokouji, the only entrance that the goblins cannot guard is the roof, but he will surely do it. Puts on the mask. Yuki, sir, the police are planning to enter and manage to communicate with the interior, he reported. Ayanokouji, let them continue, that can serve as a distraction. Turns invisible again. In the auditorium, the first-year classes from A to D were gathered in the auditorium being watched by the goblins. At that moment the hobgoblin descended upon Class A. Hobgoblin, well, Class A, right? The best in high school, where the brightest minds are together. Wait, are you all together? He cuts his monologue. The hobgoblin noticed that all the students from Class A were there. He thought that because of his abilities he would choose to be in the best class, and he was wrong. Duende, yes sir, with a sheet of paper. All the students from Class A are there, but one from Class D is missing, reported. Hobgoblin, nods, yes, who was in charge of Class D? I call him. From among their ranks the goblin who was in charge of guiding the others to catch Class D. Duende, I sir, firm. Hobgoblin, shouldn't you have told me you were missing one? Duende, sir, yes, but he was buried in the rubble of the explosion. I thought he was dead, sir. Hobgoblin, yeah, Come on, he brings him closer and pierces his chest with his flaming sword. Damn idiot, throws him. The hobgoblin threw him at some students, and they screamed when he was on top of them. Hobgoblin. As the saying goes, if you want something done right, do it yourself. Sighs. Let's see, girls. Among you there is one who does not belong, is not like you, and that is why we are going to torture you one by one until we find him, he said while smiling. This was only for the hobgoblin's total satisfaction. They didn't have to torture, but he was bored and wanted to have fun. Hobgoblin, shall we start with your class? He said the last thing to himself, and no one else heard him. But something else caught his attention. It was those Ayanokouji spider bots. He grabbed his sword and pierced one. Hobgoblin looks at him attentively. Gentlemen, it's here, as we rehearsed. Everyone take a student and disperse, waving arms. Following his orders, the goblins grabbed a student and split into groups, all but a few who stayed with the hobgoblin. Hobgoblin, you can't be everywhere, Ayanokouji whisper. Watching her queens, I noticed something about one of them. Hobgoblin, but what do we have here, from the royal family? Bends down to see her, but what an honor. In front of him was Horikita Susan, but there was nothing stopping her, because of course, she was practically human. Nothing was needed to stop her, and they knew it. Horikita, my family won't give them anything serious. Hobgoblin, oh sweetie, do you think we're coming for you? Mocks. He grabbed her by the hair and approached her ear, telling her that a simple human was not worth it. Hobgoblin, your family should be very ashamed, leaves her. The hobgoblin's gaze now turned to the ceiling, where the figure of a spider had formed. Hobgoblin, it's me or the Spider-Man kids, your choice, laughing. On the roof. Our protagonist saw the hobgoblin, while in the visor of his mask multiple images of how the goblins with the students spread out through the place, leaving the auditorium. Ayanokouji, hell, looking at the different places we will use. Plan B gave the green light. Yuki, yes sir, activate electroshock, gave the order. Hallway of the building. 3 goblins each had a student. Something that caught the attention was that the abilities of each student were neutralized. One of the students had handcuffs covering both hands, another had a gag in his mouth, and the last one a straitjacket. Duende 1. Bored, how long do you think this will last? Goblin 2. You heard the boss, let's keep the spider in check, and when it's over we'll take care of the freaks. Points to the students. Duende 3. Why wait? Approaches the students. I pointed the gun at the gagged student's head and was ready to pull the trigger. Goblin 3. Deformed trash dies from shooting. Yuki, that's horrible. You kiss your mom with that mouth? I speak. The 3 elves looked in the direction of the voice and saw a robotic spider with a light. Duende 1. One of the spider's pets? Comes closer and you're going to stop us, sweetie? Yuki, indeed, a smile appears on your lens and shoots some strings. Those ropes caught on the goblin and he was electrocuted to death. The other 2 watched as he was scorched. Yuki, the human body supports between 200 to 250 volts and continuous currents of 2.5 to 16 amps. That's why I gave them all that 100 times with a charming voice. In response, the other 2 fired and destroyed that spider bot, but they didn't count on many more of those things coming out of the shadows. Yuki, Jake, attack. Return. The goblin received notification that his troops were being eliminated. Hobgoblin, fans, looks up. Are you going to stay there all day or are we going to fight? Giving the signal to fire, the goblins opened fire on Spider-Man, who jumped and landed on top of them. He easily disarmed them and struck one in the pit of his stomach to use as a mallet to knock the other down. Hobgoblin, let's be clear, I wanted to talk peacefully at the bank. You're pushing me to do this. Spreads his wings while his soldiers gather the students and point at Spider-Man. Ayanokouji, please, we both know that you are never peaceful. Serious and mechanical spider legs come out of his back. Hobgoblin, it's true. Smiles. What are you waiting for? A warning written in a letter. Shoot orders. Outside. The police officers were entering, but above them a ship was landing. From this came the X-Men, led by Professor X and Magneto. Magneto, back off, we'll take care of this. Spoke Professor X, relax, we don't want this to get out of hand, let's be subtle. Smiles. Wolverine, I don't promise anything takes out his claws. Jean Grey uses her telepathic abilities. I feel like some of the students managed to get out, and Professor He. Professor X, yes, I felt it too. I'm glad you moved quickly, gentlemen, avoid stepping on a spider. Cyclops, yes, Professor advancing. Chapter 6, Invasion Part 2. Invasion Part 2. With our protagonist. He was fighting with the hobgoblin's goblins, while he was laughing at the spectacle. Hobgoblin, it's good to see that these years my people have slowed down taking flight. The superior Spider-Man dodged the shots and his spider legs were in charge of disarming the goblins. Yuki, boss, disarm most of the goblins, but we have visitors, the X-Men are here, I report. Ayanokoji, they? Hits and breaks one's helmet. They must have intercepted the call to the police. The hobgoblin watched as his goblins were defeated, but curiously that didn't bother him. On the contrary, the smile on his face didn't change. The last time he saw his former teammate like this was during the tests, and it was a delight for him to see this. Hobgoblin, impressive smile from ear to ear. Horikita, yes, stars and eyes. The aforementioned was next to the student groups that the goblins stayed with for the hobgoblin. Everyone saw the beating that the superior Spider-Man received and gave. One of the goblins was hung by the arms and another was wrapped in spider webs. He split a rifle in half and hit 2 goblins with it. One of his spider legs pierced the arm of one goblin and launched him at another. Blood splattered across the site. The hobgoblin began to slowly back away while carrying a pumpkin bomb. Ayanokouji, I could do this all day with his hands full of blood. Hobgoblin, on the other hand, I don't throws the bomb. But that bomb was not aimed at Spider-Man or the students. He threw it with enough force at the ceiling with the intention of burying them all, including his men. Ayanokouji, not again, Yuki, give me a foothold. His visor lights up. Running towards the students, he threw cobwebs up to the ceiling for support. Yuki, sir, this will give you enough time, but you must hold that debris shown on the viewfinder. When he finished with his cobwebs, he ordered the students to crouch down, and when they did, he used his strength to stop a large piece of rubble and lifted it up to avoid being buried again. Ayanokouji looks ahead. Horikita, red since she was face to face with Spider-Man. Ayanokouji, they could move. This is not exactly light. Gets up to move the debris away from them. Horikita pulls herself together as yes, we will go, but shows the ties. Sighing, one of the robotic legs approached the students and broke the various types of restraints they had. Ayanokouji, now run, he ordered them. Paying attention, all the students who were still there walked away, except for Horikita, who gave a thank you before leaving now. Yuki, I wish she behaved like that all the time. I no longer had spider bots, we ran out of them. Ayanokouji, okay, just leave me. Very carefully leaves that rubble and chases the goblin. Running, he feels his spider sense activated and slides into a corner where the hobgoblin was waiting for him with his flaming sword. Dodging powerful and fast cuts, our protagonist climbs to the ceiling and shoots his web covering the sword. Raising the temperature, he breaks the fabric and tries to stab Ayanokouji's chest with the sword. Stopping her briefly with both hands, he deflects the thrust and hits her face. Hobgoblin, oh buddy, I really miss you. Attacks. Ayanokouji, I had already forgotten about you. Dodges and kicks his head. Hobgoblin, how cold, let me warm you up. Cuts one of his legs. But that did not affect our protagonist. With another of his paws, he pierces the forearm of the stopped hobgoblin with the sword. And he decides to change hands, managing to cut part of Ayanokouji's mask. Hobgoblin, you should have stayed with us. He would have fixed your imperfections. Exerts more force. Ayanokouji, stopping the sword with his hand. Which ones? Tell me, did you see yourself in a mirror? Yuki, great answer, boss, and enough time for the spider-bot controls it. One who was still around managed to climb onto the hobgoblin's back, and while there he gave him a powerful electric shock like the others. Hobgoblin, cry of pain. Ayanokouji was not affected thanks to his tastes of the suit, but the heat of the hobgoblin's sword was beginning to break them. Luckily the goblin fell before that happened. Due to his alterations he managed to survive the high voltage. Dropping his sword, the hobgoblin looked incapacitated, his wings drooping and his gaze lost. Ayanokoji, fine, but first I must. With his strength he breaks, or rather, tears off his wings to prevent him from escaping. I will cut his wings. The pain served to make the hobgoblin react. Seeing that he was incapacitated, he began to crawl. Hobgoblin, don't you understand, Ayanokouji? I'm like a cockroach, I don't die, I have a god on my side, do you hear me, bitch? Looking at the boy. Ayanokouji, approaches. If you manage to make God bleed, his people will stop believing in him for now. We are going to make you bleed. Grabs him by the neck. But our protagonist was interrupted by a hand that took him by the shoulder. Wolverine, hey kid, don't you think it's enough? Seize him. The man in the yellow leotard looked at the hobgoblin on the floor, then at our protagonist. Ayanokouji, this doesn't concern you. Removes his hand. Wolverine, son, you don't want to do that. Stops him. Hobgoblin, let's listen to the man in yellow on the floor. Ayanokouji, yes, I want. Advances. Wolverine, as you wish. Takes out his claws. Our protagonist moved his head to the side, dodging Wolverine's claws. Wolverine, I promised the professor not to hurt you, but a little will be enough. Continues attacking. Hobgoblin wanted to escape using this as a distraction, but a voice in his head stopped him. Gene, sleep's mental ability activated. Hobgoblin, but Mom, tomorrow is Saturday. Falls asleep. Zzzzzzzzz. Gene, Professor, we have him, but the boy. Logan arrived first. Sees the fight. The red-haired woman just watched the fight. She could see how the angry man held back, but the boy didn't. In a quick movement, he grabbed him by the face and slammed his head against the floor, breaking it. Wolverine, I hope they pay me extra for this. Faints. Our protagonist left it there and was about to finish off the hobgoblin, but a voice started to ring in his head. Ayanokouji, what the buck? Touches his head. Gene, calm down. We just came to help. We know what you are. And Ayanokouji, only one person can enter my mind and is not from this dimension. Gets upset. Yuki, activates psychokinetic wave. Activates it. For a few seconds Jin's head started to hurt, and he stopped reading Ayanokouji's mind. Gene, it's dangerous for us. Why does the teacher want it? Whispered that. Our protagonist was going to continue fighting, but his wounds began to take their toll. Ayanokouji, he is mind somewhat tired. Before he could walk again, Ayanokouji's spider sense activated and a blue cloud appeared in front of him and took the hobgoblin. Nightcrawler, now it's ours. Disappears. Gene, telekinetic ability. I will take. My friend lifts Logan. Ayanokouji, sighs. Annoying. Turns his back. It's lucky I have to bury myself in the rubble. The redhead watched him leave. She also turned around to leave, taking Logan with her. Gene, how did you see Logan? I ask. Logan, don't shout. It reminded me of my daughter, just as rebellious. What will the teacher see in her? With a headache. Gene, I wonder. The same thing. Informs the teacher. Outside. Professor X welcomed Nightcrawler along with the hobgoblin Cyclops, who took care of the few goblins that remained. Magneto, will you leave it here? Referring to Ayanokouji. Teacher, yes, someone must take care of the high school. I check the area. Magneto, I still don't understand why you allowed him to enter. Seriously, he's not a mutant, nor a human, let alone an inhuman. Professor, it's true, but it can be a bridge between the three of us if we nurture it well. That's why we created this high school. Did you forget? Magneto, despite everything, things like this exist. Referring to weapons. Professor, yes, he still doesn't see the whole picture. That's why Krakoa must be finished quickly. They get on the ship. The X-Men took the hobgoblin to their island. They had to interrogate him well. Inside. Ayanokouji took off his suit to return to his torn and dirty uniform. Yuki, sir, we must resupply the spider-bots. He reminded him. I will look for where to find material. Ayanokouji, now we need that secret place. Gets into the rubble. I want to sleep. Later. Police and paramedics entered and searched through the rubble in the hallways, where they found an unconscious and injured Ayanokouji. Ayanokouji, I'm dead. He just said that. They carefully loaded him into the ambulance and took him to the high school doctor. There they cured him, and he had to rest for a while, during which Yuki erased his analyses from the base and the high school was rebuilt. Yuki, I see a little thing looking. Ayanokoji, thrown the white roof. Yuki, yes, that's right, he repeated it more than 5 times. Ayanokoji, sighs, how boring. Yes, that's how they were the whole time Ayanokouji was in the hospital and no one from Class D went to visit him. Of course, he didn't have any friends there. Ayanokouji, isn't there somewhere inside the high school that we can use as a base? Yuki, still nothing, although if we found one, without an alibi some teacher could find us searched. Ayanokouji, I should go, was about to stand up. But to her surprise the door to her room was opened, and it was not a nurse or doctor. Entering back into bed she saw her visitor, a girl with black hair and a killer look. Horikita, entering and closing the door. Yuki, am I the only one who thinks he's going to kill us? Horikita, are you okay? Seize him. Ayanokouji, yes, thanks for asking, she looked dead, I wasn't expecting a visit, and even less from you. Horikita, you're lucky I came unarmed. She didn't bring her compass. In my family it's customary to be thankful when someone saves your life. Ayanokouji, don't do it, it was an impulse, if I had a clear mind I would have left you there and I would have moved. The look that kills was activated, I was joking, forget it. Horikita, anyway thank you, I was able to have an experience close to Spider-Man thanks to your sacrifice. Yuki, the strangest jokes of my life was his point of view. Ayanokouji, that reminds me, can you pass me my pants? With a look of confusion the girl grabbed Ayanokouji's pants with just 2 fingers and moved them away a little. Horikita, what do you want this for? Wait, your pants are here, with a disgusted face. Ayanokouji, no, I do have clothes on, searches through pants before being under rubble, I wanted to give you. From his pants he took out the spider-shaped hook that belonged to Horikita and had broken in the fight with his brother. Ayanokouji found it in pieces and rebuilt it with the most useful tool in the world, glue, but now it was all bent and dirty. Ayanokouji, in my defense, in the morning it looked better because I saved it. Horikita takes it from his hands. This morning, was this what you wanted to give me? The boy nods. HMHMM. Our protagonist watched as Horikita put the spider hook on him and adjusted it. Horikita, thanks, I could buy another one. But now this one has history. Didn't smile. For Ayanokouji this was not enough, he thought he could see the girl's smile, but it was not so. Ayanokouji, I would like to see this girl's smile, sighs. Horikita, what? Looks at him seriously, something to say? Ayanokouji, no, nothing ma'am, stayed silent. Chapter 7, Who Are You? This chapter has post-credits scenes. Who are you? A new day had begun, a week had already passed after the incident and the high school was already ready, advantages of being funded by the government, and having members with special abilities. The young people thought that since the goblin attack happened, the exams would be postponed, but no. They were taking their exam right now after just returning, as expected of an elite school. Ayanokouji, very severe considering what happened, with a bandage in his hand, that reminds me, I need more manpower. Yuki looks at the test. It's very easy, boss. You would do it with your eyes closed. Smiles. Where do those prayers come from? These prayers came from students who did not study during the time when high school was open and only watched the exams from past years that Kushida very kindly obtained. Ike looked at the skies every 5 seconds. C for Christ, for Amen, D for God. He was desperate. But let's not go into further details. Let's pass the time and see the results. Everyone passed except one. Sudu. And No looks at his note. The red-haired human boy had gotten 39, and the maximum passing grade was 40. Other students had also gotten 39, but since it was higher than 0.5, it was rounded up to 40. Chabashira. That's why Sudo-kun didn't pass, and that's why he will be expelled from high school. Good afternoon. She left. But before leaving, the class president tried to stop her and find a way to solve this. Hirata, isn't there a way to fix this? Looks at her. Someone could. Chabashira, there is nothing any of you can do. Looks at our protagonist. She left, leaving Suda very upset by the news. Ayanokoji, aren't we going to do something? To Horikita. Horikita, we will? I don't have to do anything for him. Maybe it's best to get rid of the burden before it affects us. She took out her book. Ayanokouji. HM presses his earpiece. Yuki, where is Sensei? Whisper. Yuki. I have it. Looks for it ready. It is on the roof, but the students are not allowed to enter. Ayanokouji. Stands up. I'll try to fix this. We don't want to miss an opportunity. The Inhuman girl watched him leave. She said not to waste an opportunity, but for her it would be a waste of time. Horikita sighs and continues reading. It's not something that affects me. Touches the hook that Ayanokouji gave her. On the roof. Chabashira-sensei was smoking, waiting for someone. She looked thoughtful, looking at the entire campus until the door behind her opens. Chabashira, you're late. Turns and sees our protagonist. Ayanokouji. I didn't know you were waiting for me. If so, I would have arrived faster. Came closer. Chabashira. You didn't understand my hint. Sighs and puts out the cigarette. Well, so what? Ayanokouji. At the beginning of the year you told us that with the points we can buy anything, right? Chabashira. As long as it doesn't threaten security and is at your disposal. Why? Hides a slight smile. Ayanokouji. I want to buy a point for Suda. Poker face. Chabashira. Throws away cigarette. Can you afford a point? Yuki. Pretends to smell. It smells like fraud. Ayanokouji. What are we talking about? Looks at her seriously. Chabashira. Looks at the sky, thinking 1 million points released. Yuki. Spits something. What? Is she crazy? Ayanokouji. It's a big number. Okay, accepted. Yuki. Wait, boss. Let's think about it for a moment. I will be left without my bathtub of money. It was not a valid point. Ayanokouji. Although I think it won't be enough. Makes calculations. Horikita. I'll pay 2 walks through the door. Ayanokouji. Looks at her. HM? Horikita. Between the two of us we can pay the remaining point. Stands next to him. Chabashira. Okay, comes closer. Come with me to make the transfer. Walks through the door. Ayanokouji. I didn't think you would come, much less help. Follows her. Horikita. I wasn't going to do it, but I owe you one, so we're even. Continues walking. Yuki. At least I'll be able to bathe with buckets full of stitches. Discouraged. Ayanokouji. Sounds good to me. Both students followed the teacher and managed to transfer points, saving Suda. Later. The class celebrated Suda not being expelled, and what was the best way? By having a party in Ayanokouji's room. Ayanokouji, again? Managed to hide his suit outside. Yamauchi. It is the most accessible since we have a copy of my key. I say this while having a drink. Yuki. Don't worry, boss. I already investigated how to change the key and how much it will cost. Investigates. Putting aside the theft and distribution of something personal, Hirata stands up and gives a few words. Hirata. Thanks to Ayanokouji-kun for receiving us in his room. Sees him. Ayanokouji. As if I had a chance to refuse. Sighs. Hirata. And also thanks to Kushida-san for getting and distributing last year's exam. Thanks to that most of them managed to pass. Looks at her. The girl smiles and then looks at Ayanokouji, who felt his spider sense activate. She smiled at him for obvious reasons. Hirata. And thanks to Horikita-san for helping Suda-kun with the point, and it's a shame she wasn't here. Mentions her. For personal reasons she wasn't there. How about we go with her for a while? In Horikita's room. We can see her doing her homework, and after leaving it she starts to think. She remembered some words that the sensei told her before returning to the classroom. Flashback. After Ayanokouji left the teacher's lounge. Chabashira. Horikita, 1 second. Calls her. Horikita. Sensei, is something wrong? Looks at her. Are you reconsidering your mistake of placing me in class D? Chabashira. Sighs. You're still with that? No, there's no mistake. I wanted to talk to you about him. Points in the direction where Ayanokouji went. Horikita. Ayanokouji-kun? The one that has to do with it? The sensei took a few seconds to speak. She looked serious and very thoughtful about what she was about to say. Chabashira. If you want to get to class A, don't get away from him. He will be a key piece to take the class to the top. She sees. Horikita, Ayanokoji-kun? Him? I didn't believe it. Chabashira, if you want to check it out, come tomorrow to the classroom near the teacher's lounge. I'll wait for you there. She allowed him to leave. End of flashback. The girl couldn't get the doubt out of her head, what the sensei meant with respect to that ungraceful boy. Horikita looks at the hook I gave her. Who are you, Ayanokoji-kun? The next day. A new day began and we walked calmly along the high school roads. It was a sunny day, and the wind was cool enough to sit down and sunbathe. Ayanokoji. Another of the things that I like as much as flying around the city closes eyes. Yuki. Yes, feeling the wind in your hair is the best. Excitement continues. He could stay like that all day, but his spider sense alerted him. The sensation was already familiar, so he didn't open them and said the name of the girl who sat next to him. Ayanokouji, Kushida-san? Unseen. Kushida. Oh, maybe Ayanokoji-kun remembered my smell, and that was enough to know that I arrived. What a pervert pretends to be embarrassed. Ayanokouji. Nothing like that. Can I help you with something? Kushida. Yes, in fact yes. Smiles, and you already know what with. Ayanokouji. Horikita. Yes, but I don't think the coffee idea will work again. Opens eyes. Kushida. I think so, and even more so if the boy who saved her asks for it. Sits down and looks ahead. Ayanokouji. I didn't mean to save her. Yuki. We should have let them bury her instead of us. Malicious thoughts. Kushida. How noble you are. Gives him a little push. Ayanokouji. No, not at all. The interaction of these two was interrupted by a small fight later on. Normally they wouldn't pay attention to him, but this was a special case. His partner Suru was part of the fight. This one was in front of two classmates from another classroom. Apparently they were from Class C. The fight was regarding the basketball club. Suru, despite being a first year, was already part of the club's main line, which bothered certain individuals. Suru. They are just jealous of my talent. Annoyed. Class C. Jealous? Of a mistake like you? Please don't make me laugh. Mocks. The only thing you're good for is throwing the ball. Anyone can do that. Suru. So? How about I use you like one about to attack him? If he wasn't blinded by anger, Suru would have noticed the satisfied smile on those guys' faces. It seemed like they were looking to start a fight. Please guys, can we calm down? You're making a scene. As if fallen from the sky, a beautiful blonde-haired girl stood between them, avoiding getting into a fight. She was Ichino's Hanami, the president of Class B. Ayanokouji never lived with her, but she was well known by both men and women. Ichino's violence will not solve anything. Calm. Class C. Says to him, points at him. We are just talking. Calmly smiles hypocritically. Suru. That's not true. A little more annoyed. What's going on here? Close to the scene. Another figure entered the scene, a man with hair down to his neck accompanied by a black man who appears to be American/Japanese. Class C. Ryun-kun, we're sorry, this guy distracted us. Points to Suru. Suru's patience was getting closer to running out. If Ichino's wasn't there, he would have already hit them a while ago. Ryun. I didn't tell you to stop playing around. Looks at Suru, and especially with someone who isn't worth the effort. Ichino's. No, you shouldn't look down on your classmates. Looks at him. Ryun, companions? Laughs. Yes, of course. Takes them. It seemed like everything calmed down. Ryun took his class and Ichino's left, watching our protagonist from afar. Ayanokouji notes the look. It's good that it didn't go any further. Calm. Kushida says hello. See you, Ayanokouji-kun. Remember that you agreed to meet. Horikita leaves with Ichino's. Ayanokouji. Yes, wait, what? Realizes. Later. The class flew by and everyone was already leaving, except for our protagonist, as he was called by Chabashira-sensei to the teacher's room. Ayanokouji. What does he want now? Sighs. Yuki. Let me look for things for blackmail just in case. Starts to investigate. Ayanokouji. Please don't do it. Arrives in the living room. There he was greeted by a very beautiful and cheerful ochre-haired woman. Oh, hello, can I help you with something? Ayanokouji. Yes, Chabashira-sensei called me and… some of Sai-chan's students, they're not doing anything wrong, right? Can you tell me comes closer. Ayanokoji walks away. It's not just. Where are my manners? My name is Hoshino Milachi, teacher of Class B smiles. Ayanokoji, thinking that explains it. Before saying anything else, Chabashira-sensei makes an appearance, hitting Hoshino Mila-sensei's head, which made a very slight moan of pain which could be cute. Chabashira, stop harassing my students. Ayanokoji-kun, come on, the classroom is next door. Hoshino Mila, oh, a forbidden love between teacher and student. Feigned surprise, don't do anything daring, S.A.chan. Chabashira, shut up and go to your classroom. Doesn't see her. Our protagonist followed the sensei to the living room. There was no one there. She continued walking to a door which led to a small storeroom where there was freshly prepared tea. Yuki, careful boss, it could be a kidnapping alert. Ayanokoji, sensei? Chabashira, come in, don't make any noise and wait for me to call you. Forces him to come in. After that she closed the door, leaving our protagonist inside. Yuki, what kind of kidnapping is this? I didn't understand. Ayanokoji looks at the tea. Since I'm here. He begins to pour his cup of tea, but notices some leaves next to it, and out of curiosity he starts to examine them. Ayanokoji, this Yuki, could you? Yuki, yes boss, takes photos. Outside. Just a few seconds later Horikita arrived. She was serious about what sensei could tell her. Chabashira, first of all, I want you to understand that there was no mistake in your place in Class D. Horikita, honestly it's hard to believe, my grades were the highest. Chabashira, I don't deny it, with grades like that we could have put you in Class A, honest. Horikita, then interrupted. Chabashira, but the school doesn't only look at the grades, we are also interested in the student's way of thinking. If we were only interested in the grades, many of your classmates would not have gotten in. She was telling the truth. Horikita, then he tells me that. Chabashira, everyone in Class D has something that doesn't allow them to move forward. You are part of them, just like he calls you, you can pass. Ayanokoji comes out of the door with a cup of tea in his hands. When Horikita saw her she stiffened. She didn't expect someone to hear the conversation. Ayanokoji, hello, drinks tea. Chabashira, both of them have what it takes to rise from Class D to A. Ayanokoji, I'm afraid you're wrong about that. I'm not outstanding in studying. Continues drinking tea. Chabashira takes out some papers. There was something about my students that caught my attention. Only one of them passed with 50% of the score on each exam. Looks at them. Ayanokoji, what a coincidence. He finished his tea. Chabashira, it's like the student has all the luck in the world, or I calculate each point of the answers and get 50% on purpose reports. Ayanokoji, with my luck. Horikita, the 50th, looks at Ayanokoji. Chabashira, the weight of Class D is on you. You better start cooperating to achieve it seriously. Minutes later. They both left the room after a brief chat. Horikita didn't stop looking at our protagonist after that conversation. Horikita, Ayanokoji-kun. Ayanokoji, are you free now? I see her. I want to invite you for a coffee. Horikita, huh? Yes, I think that if processes the information she will come, right? Looked exhausted. Ayanokoji, yes, she will come. Sighs. Horikita, you treat me, decides to let it pass. So they went with Kushida to the cafeteria to have something to drink. That same night, changing into his red and black suit, our protagonist was ready to hit the streets. Ayanokoji, do you have something for me? Goes out the window. Yuki, we have a sighting of a criminal group robbing the Alchemax warehouses. I report. Ayanokouji, that place must be closed already with so many losses. Jumps and leaves the premises. Minutes later, flying through the streets with his spider webs, our protagonist saw his destiny, entering through a hole made by the thieves. He expected to see them immediately, but it was not so. Yuki, this is weird. Looks at the scene. Ayanokouji, yes, seriously. The scene seen by our protagonist was the thieves lying on the floor with cut wounds and a lot of blood on the floor. Yuki, the warehouse cameras didn't detect anything, and without the spider bots it's kind of hard to know what happened. Explained. Ayanokouji changes vision to infrared. His lenses change color. The thieves' wounds showed signs of heat related to a certain metal. Ayanokouji, this is. Hey, you redhead, seriously, what are you doing here? It's my area. Our protagonist turned around and saw a girl with claws on her hands and a lot of blood that wasn't hers on them. Ayanokouji, last time I was here it wasn't like this. Looks at him. Chapter 8, The First Date. The First Date. Narrated by Ayanokouji. In the end, what distinguishes the free man from the slave? His status? Money? Power? No. Man chooses, the slave obeys. Man is born with the ability to decide his actions, capable of making mistakes, and it does not matter since making mistakes is a man's thing. But the slave, even before being born already has his whole life predicted, how long he will live, what he will do, what he will be used for. Why am I saying all this? Well, I was born a slave, but now I will live as a free man no matter what. End of narration. We find ourselves right where the previous chapter ended. Our protagonist was in front of a girl of the same age as him with claws on her knuckles, and they were full of blood, which was not exactly hers. Ayanokouji, you did this? Seize her. Is there a problem? He answered and listened to the police. We better get out. When the blues appear, this gets difficult to get out. Ayanokouji, Yuki, tell the police not to come in. Give me time to investigate his AI. Yuki, yes boss. Looks at the girl. Wait, you control the police? Stare. Ayanokouji, I work with them. I don't control them. Approaches the corpses. At least you got some information. What am I? Your informant? I don't have to tell you anything seriously. Ayanokouji, you didn't ask anything. Okay, searches for his fingerprints and uses facial recognition. Smells something there is someone else. Searches. Our protagonist left the corpses and saw how the girl moved some boxes, finding an Alchemax scientist. Scientist, please don't do anything to me. Scared. Hey, don't look at me like I'm the bad guy in this story. Annoyed. Ayanokouji, didn't you see yourself in a mirror? Takes the scientist and looks at him for a few seconds. Professor Fujimoto, one of the leaders of Alchemax, what are you doing here? Fujimoto, I was sent to supervise the delivery of a mineral, terrigenous or well, a variation. Terrigen? That thing of the Inhumans? Looks at the scientist. Ayanokouji, you said variation. What variation? Serious. Fujimoto, a poisonous for mutants. Closes eyes. In less than a second, the girl snatched the scientist from our protagonist's hands and slammed him to the floor, very angry. What the buck were they doing with something that could kill my people? Angry. Ayanokouji, hey, let me finish talking. Puts his hand on her shoulder. But the girl responds badly and tries to stab Superior Spider-Man with her claws. Don't get involved. Attacks. Managing to stop both arms, the girl kicked him, which Ayanokouji had to back away from since there were also claws on his feet. Using a simple key, he managed to incapacitate the girl and put her aside. Ayanokouji looks at the scientist. Same question now. Fujimoto, and it's not what you think. Calms down. He, the leader of the mutants, gave us that mineral in order to find a countermeasure. Clarification, we went through very difficult times, you know? That collaboration had helped us stay standing. Ayanokouji, how many boxes were there? Seize them. Fujimoto, they only took one, but it was enough to clear an entire street of that fog. Finished. Now the company is ruined. Size. Ayanokouji gives him an idea that explains it. These idiots belong to an anti-mutant cell. Looks at the corpses. Standing. How do you know that? Ayanokouji, I would know more if someone hadn't killed them. Looks at the girl. Look, I'm done here, and if there's another box of these I'm going to find it. He left. Ayanokouji, if you know where to look. Focuses on his viewers. And you know? I was waiting for an answer. Ayanokouji, it depends. Are you free tomorrow night? He answered. Yuki, boss, what are you saying? Looks at the girl. Are you crazy? Huh? What, are you asking me out? Mocks. Ayanokouji, you can see it as you wish. Tomorrow night I'm free. Let's go of the scientist and lets the police pass. I hope it's not a waste of time is his way of accepting I'll see you tomorrow, Chelsea's spar, don't be late. He left. The girl left the place and Ayanokouji went to the Terry Jin variant boxes. Yuki, boss, do you know what you did? Looks at him judgingly. Ayanokouji. I think I'll experience my first date relax but first grabs one of the crystals. Could you get some financial information about Alchemax? Yuki. Yes boss, but why? Ayanokouji. Maybe he'll buy me and make a company puts away the crystal. Yuki. Did he smoke something boss? Worries he's been having some really weird ideas today. The next day. Our protagonist entered class a little tired. The reason? Well. Yuki. We just need a power source and we'll be ready with a list in hand. Ayanokouji. Better think some. But those thoughts were interrupted by a sharp pain in his arm. It was Horikita with her terrible compass. Yuki. Oh, this girl, I'm going to kick her. Throws punches in the air. Ayanokouji. Ouch. Complains sometimes it's annoying that it doesn't activate with her. What's going on? This is physical aggression against a classmate. Horikita. I don't know what you mean. Hides the compass. You were asleep and I need you awake. Ayanokouji. There are less dangerous methods to wake someone up. What do you need? Horikita. Think of a plan to go up from Class D to A. Sees if you have time to sleep. I'm sure you can. Ayanokouji. I don't remember accepting to help you. The only way to achieve that would be for you to make me sign a contract. Which won't happen. Relaxes. I like my free hours in the afternoon. Horikita. HM scoffs. What do you need them for? Do you have plans with your imaginary friends? Ayanokouji. No, I have a date. Enters Sensei tonight. Horikita. Huh? Is stunned. What do you mean? Chabashira. Silence. The class is going to start. Starts writing on the board. Now the one who wasn't paying attention was Horikita, who didn't take into account what Ayanokouji had said a little while ago. Narrated by Horikita. Date refers to a meeting to get and share information or to a sentimental and carnal thing? No, Ayanokouji-kun is depressing and reserved. No girl would be interested in him. Wait a minute. Why do I think about it so much? I don't deny that Ayanokouji-kun is now a presence that I don't dislike having around, especially if it's for the good of the class, but from there to consider him a friend or more. End of narration. Horikita. Sighs. No, I think about it too much. It must be an excuse not to do something today. Continues in class. Ayanokouji. Did you say something? Looks at her. Horikita. Nothing that matters to you. Keeps paying attention. Ayanokouji. Okay, stops paying attention. Later. We met up with Ayanokouji. But he wasn't in his room. He was in a classroom in a remote area of the high school. Ayanokouji. Give me energy. Calibrating a screen to a chair. Yuki. I'll give it to you. Activates the energy source. From a dark and gloomy room, it became a bright room full of screens next to a work table and engineering tools. Ayanokouji. Okay, wipes oil off face now. With one hand I lift the chair with screens and place it in front of a computer where Yuki could be more free than in his creator's headset. Yuki. How nice it is to stretch your legs. Relaxes. How nice that teacher left those papers where the location of this place is specified right on that table next to the tea. Smiles. Ayanokouji. Yes, convenient. Stands up. Ready for the date? Yuki. I feel like I'll just be a bad third. Come on, it was just what I wanted. Ayanokouji. Well, should I try the chair first? Takes off clothes. Yuki. Where is the camera when you need it? Did not answer the question. With his suit already on and a more or less stable place to store his things, our protagonist was one step closer to being the superior Spider-Man. Ayanokouji. Good. Activate the Spider-Bot's orders. The screens lit up and showed the streets through the spider's cameras and their facial recognition program began to work. Ayanokouji. Okay, show me Chelsea's bar. The cameras focus on it. There you could see a man vomiting, a drunk couple and a motorcyclist with a destroyed bouquet of roses, the latter with his gaze downcast. Yuki. It looks like a very friendly place. Smiles. Ayanokouji. I will have to change my appearance. I don't want to be seen without a mask and for everyone to see my face. Thinking. Yuki. Boss, I always wanted to tell you. I think you would look very handsome with black hair. Confessed. Ayanokouji. I'll think about it. It was an option. Our protagonist began to look for costume options to go to the date. Meanwhile, returning from shopping, Horikita walked back to the apartments where she met up with Ike, Sudu, and the rest. Ike, Horikita-san waves hello. We were about to go to Ayanokoji-kun's room to have something to drink. Are you joining us? The girl looked at them for a few seconds, thinking about rejecting him as she always did, but remembered Ayanokoji's excuse this morning and wanted to see what face he would make. Horikita, yes, why? Suda, see, I told you no. What did he say? Horikita, yes, let's go. Walks ahead. Yamauchi, did we miss something? Ike, what does that matter? Come on. Walks forward. The group arrived at the apartments and went up to the floor where the door to Ayanokoji's apartment was. Ike, hello, enters with the copied key they had. Ayanokoji-kun, we are here, announced themselves. But there was no answer, despite entering, lying down on Ayanokoji's bed and opening Ken's next to the fried food. There was no answer. Ayanokoji was not there. Yamauchi, it's weird, we always find him here in the main character's bed. Ike, who knows, maybe he went out to buy something. Horikita, or went on a date, said it without thinking. The girl's words caused laughter from those present, who would go on a date with Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. Some time later. With Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. He walked straight to Chelsea's bar, but he looked different: black shirt, wristwatch, dress pants, an earring in his ear and a tattoo on his neck. Anything else? His hair was black and his eyes were red. Ayanokoji, let's do this quickly. Entering. Our protagonist walked in, seeing a seedy place offering a 20% discount on drinks if you ordered it with extra poison. Yuki, who drinks something like that? Confused, this place gives me a bad feeling. Ayanokoji, let's look for that one, right? I don't know her name. Sighs, where is she? Aw man, scream. Yuki, let's follow the screams, declares. Walking a few steps, he saw the girl throw a man to the floor and return to her table with a drink in her hands. Don't bother me, I'm waiting for someone, seriously. Without paying much attention to the injured man, we walked past and sat down in front of the girl, who became angry again. I'm waiting for someone, takes out his claws. Ayanokoji, put that back, you'll poke someone's eye out. Sees her, sorry for the delay, it took me a while to find the place. The girl stared at our protagonist and began to sniff. She calmed down a little when she recognized the smell. Next time let me know, I could have killed you. Puts away his claws. Yuki, it's cute that you think you would kill the boss. Laughs in Ayanokoji's ear. Ayanokoji, well, before work. I don't know your name. Takes out a phone. Neither do I have yours, so we better leave it like that, okay? A one-night stand? Was he referring to work? Ayanokoji, no problem. Looks for a file, but I need to know how to call you. X23 answers, do you mind if I call you Insect? Drinks something. Ayanokoji, yes, just a spider will do. Shows. X23, wait, stops him. I can't work with a dry throat. Drinks beer. Do you want one? Ayanokouji, I don't drink alcohol. Answers. X23, what? Are you a girl? Continues drinking. Ayanokouji. Chapter 9, It Goes Wrong. It goes wrong. The scene could be cute in some cases, but this one isn't. Ayanokouji had his lips joined to X23's. She had her eyes closed while feeling the sensation of the boy's lips, and he also felt hers. I forgot to mention, it wasn't a kiss, it was an attempt at resuscitation. X23 was about to die, and Ayanokouji was trying to prevent that by giving her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Ayanokouji, come on, separates and places his hands on your chest. Wake up. But to understand how we got to this point, let's back up a bit. A few hours before, we returned to Chelsea's bar where X23 was drinking her third bottle of beer. It seemed like she wasn't listening to Ayanokouji. Ayanokouji, did you understand? Sees her. X23, were you saying something? I don't pay attention and was about to take another drink. Ayanokouji, stops drinking during work, takes the bottle away. In response, the girl pulls out her claws in an attempt to intimidate our protagonist by placing them very close to his jugular. Yuki, keep your distance. Egg-breaking cat alert. X23, You talk like my father, although he also drinks after work, but the intimidation didn't work. Ayanokouji. Still holding the bottle. I've never been so close to adamantium. I recognized the metal after the visit to the laboratory. Can I? I wanted to analyze it closely. X-23. First, invite me for a drink, okay? He suggested. Ayanokouji returns his bottle and grabs X-23's claws. Interesting. This metal is only moldable at high temperatures. It must have hurt. Looks at the claws. X-23. Now the bottle finishes. Only my claws are bathed. The rest is pure bone. Do you want to see? Playing. Yuki. What kind of insinuation is that? I wanted to hit him, boss. Let's go. Ayanokouji. Then he told Yuki, but X-23 thought it was for her. Your father, Wolverine, knows that you are here with a stranger. He touches X-23's hand, trying to feel traces of metal. X-23. No, how do you know what? Are you afraid of him? Smiles, trying to make fun of him. Ayanokouji. No, just curious. Leaves his hand. X-23. Although I could tell her that I met a boy with dyed hair, fake eyes, and a temporary tattoo. Ayanokouji looks at her. You smell like dye. You're lucky that I don't dislike that smell. Sniffs. Ayanokouji. What a luck for me. I don't want people to recognize me, although nobody knows me except them. X-23. It's not like you're someone important. Laughs. And what about you, boy? What can you do? The same as a spider or something else? Ayanokouji. I'm simpler than I seem. Rolls up one arm and shows X-23. She dropped her empty bottle and grabbed our protagonist's arm. There she saw a very small hole right on his wrist. X-23. Organic spider web? Doesn't that leave you with any side effects? It doesn't come out of nowhere, right? Notices the hard skin he has. Ayanokouji. The truth is yes, its excessive use leaves me dehydrated, but nothing that a little hydration can't fix. Answers. X-23. I hope he leaves something for me at the end of the night. Looks at Ayanokouji. Yuki. I'm referring to the spider web, right? Right? I ask. Ayanokouji. You heal quickly, don't you? X-23. That's right, you. I read somewhere that you suffer things that would break 1 or 2 bones. And anyone tell me? Her tone of voice changes to a softer one. If I broke this wrist, she holds it a little tightly. How long would it take you to heal? Ayanokouji. 1 hour more or less. Gets a little closer. I must assume that in your case, almost instantly. X-23. You got it right. Her tone was more sensual. I hope you don't mind 1 or 2 marks on your back. Ayanokouji. It's good that they don't leave a scar. Yuki. This is the most sick and weird flirting I've ever seen in my life, and I've been created for 2 years. Covers her eyes. The flirting was interrupted when Ayanokouji managed to see that his target had arrived. He knew he would come. If not, he wouldn't be able to stand all of X-23's drunkenness. Ayanokouji. Takes distance. I'm here. X-23. Huh? Who arrived? Also takes distance. Ayanokouji. You should have listened to me before. Takes out a small phone. Summary. Those who stole the Terry Gen variant are called orcas, unscrupulous idiots. The gentleman you see sitting over there subtly points. Out of the corner of his eye, X-23 sees a man in his 30s sitting with a spleen in his hands and a gun on his belt. X-23. Well, stops drinking. What's the plan? Ayanokouji. Go and take him back, was what he said. We'll take care of the rest there. X-23. Ah? You want me to seduce him and take him to the back? Do it yourself. Annoyed. Ayanokouji. I would, but I don't know his preferences, and I didn't say to seduce him. Just take him. Listens to his ear. He has a 20 Mustang. Think about what to do with that information. Stands up. It was fun. Shall we start working? X-23. This date was passable. Sour face. Ayanokouji. That for me is an achievement. Leaves the place. X-23. Watches our protagonist leave the bar. Shit. Minutes later. The girl managed to get him out of the bar, and as Ayanokouji requested, they were behind the bar with the man upside down through the protagonist's spider web. Ayanokouji. Good job. Sees him from below. X-23. If we ever do this again, you'll do this part. Taking out his claws. Ayanokouji. I'll also buy you drinks. Looks at the guy. Listen, no one is going to hurt you, just... Man. Stop it, freaks, he said to them. X-23. I kill him. Annoyed. Being stopped by Superior Spider-Man, X-23 stares at the guy waiting for the slightest sign of rebellion so she can kill him. Ayanokouji, you'll see that my companion is very volatile. Better tell us what you know. I speak politely. Man, rot you monster spits. Yuki, this will be fun, smiles maliciously. From Ayanokouji's new invention, a dart shooter, a projectile came out that made the spider web guy fall, hitting his back. Manoj complains from the pain they are going to pay for. Ah, screamed in fear. X-23 placed her claws inside the guy's mouth, the edge of it touching his tongue, threatening to cut it off if he didn't speak. Ayanokouji didn't say anything. He let the girl take the reins of the interrogation. She stuck her claws deeper and deeper, almost reaching his throat. The guy was about to vomit. X-23, hey to Ayanokouji, how long do you think I can last? Ayanokouji, if you lift the leaf a little it will release everything it has inside, referring to vomiting and talking. Following the indication, he was about to lift the sheet, which when the guy felt it he started making noises and moving his hands. He wanted to talk. X-23, let's be clear, if it were up to me you wouldn't have fingers. Now takes his claws out of his mouth. After breathing heavily and almost vomiting, the interrogation brought out everything he had. Ayanokouji, Yuki listens to her. Yuki, checking the information I have. The place, the cameras don't arrive. I'll send some spider bots right away, controls them. Ayanokouji, it's true, all yours. Leaves it to X-23. Man, what? Scared? You said they wouldn't do anything to me. Wanted to get out of there. Ayanokouji checks the place with his cell phone and stops looking at it. She said she was going to kill you. Grinning, X-23 slit the guy's neck and pierced the rest of his body with her two claws from both hands. X-23, ah, sighs, where now? Ayanokouji shows the location here. X-23, it doesn't look so difficult. What's the problem? Ayanokouji changes to the view of the spider bots. X-23, oh, sees what was inside they have. Ayanokouji, yes, he has a sentry. Serious. Minutes later. Already at the site, an abandoned warehouse, from a neighboring building they remained hidden, searching the place. Ayanokouji, there are two guys at the door, no more entrances. It's hard to see how many are inside. I was going to change to Spider-Bot vision. X-23, 8 sniffs. No, there are 9. One loves to use a garbage perfume, smelled bad. Ayanokouji, well, thinks of a plan. We must. X-23, leave this to me. Stretches, if I kill them before they activate the sentry there will be no problem. Says goodbye and jumps. Ayanokouji saw how the girl jumped, and when they saw her she began to behave like an animal, slaughtering those from Orcus. Yuki, I say we leave her alone. Let's see what happens. Smiles. Ayanokouji jumps and falls on the sentinel. Inside, X-23 found herself covered in the blood of her enemies, and a little of her own since they shot her a couple of times. X-23, Rayag pierces the head of one of the Orcus. Alerted, he shouts for them to activate the sentry, which they were going to do, but Ayanokouji, here, you'll need this, throws the robot's mother at him. Man, shit, Spider-Man punches him in the face. Our protagonist practically did nothing. All the killing was done by X-23, who showed a more savage personality when it came to fighting. Yuki, what a bitch, referring to her fighting style, I think. Ayanokouji, let's get to what concerns us. Leaves the sentry unusable. Walking on a sea of blood, our protagonist went to a small safe. There was no money there. There was something more valuable. Ayanokouji takes out some chips. The advantages of the digital age. Tons of money in the palm of your hand. Puts them away. Yuki, ready? We already have the capital. Now what? Ayanokouji, you know, the sentinel caught my attention. I think I can hear something break, and his spider sense alerts him. Looking in that direction, she saw one of the Orcus members badly wounded, taking out a vial of the Terrigen variant and throwing it at the girl's feet. Type. Takes out another one and throws it at Ayanokouji. Mistakes of nature. Die, coughs up blood. Our protagonist was not affected. Why? His mask had a filter, and even if he didn't have it, since he didn't carry the X gene, his body wouldn't be affected. On the other hand, X-23, my shit, starts to cough. Falling to the ground, the girl began to convulse. her claws coming out and returning inside her body uncontrollably. X-23, cough 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 coughs blood. Laughing, the last Orcus survivor inside the warehouse delights in the slow, painful death of his mutant. Ayanokoji, you celebrate before time shoots him in the head with a dart, killing him. Walking up to X-23, she sees her powers spiral out of control and her healing factor is no longer working. Yuki, can we leave her here? She asked kindly. Ayanokoji, no, I don't want to have problems with the X-Men takes it. Carrying her bridal style, Ayanokouji quickly leaves the warehouse, but not before calling the police. He went straight up to the roof where he jumped, leaving X-23 on the ground, who stopped coughing and went into shock. Ayanokouji looks around good grabs 2 tubes. The first thing he did was to remove the gas from her lungs. He stuck both tubes directly into the girl's lungs, taking advantage of his healing factor. Then he took her by the head and began to perform mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. He removed the lower part of the mask and joined his mouth with hers. First he shared some air with her and from the tubes the altered Terrigen gas came out little by little. He continued like this a couple of times until nothing came out of the tubes. He removed them and from his belt he took out a syringe which carried adrenaline. I inject it directly into his bloodstream and proceed to give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation again. Finally, CPR was started, slow but effective. The regeneration healed the holes in his chest, but he did not wake up. Yuki, ready, let's go, let's leave it like this, wanted to leave. But Ayanokouji started breathing again, which X-23 took advantage of to grab his head and deepen the kiss even more. Yuki, daughter of your wolf mother, angry. Ayanokouji wanted to separate, but X-23's hands didn't let her. She stuck her tongue in Ayanokouji's mouth. Our protagonist admitted it. This was not how he thought he would receive his first kiss, but it was not an unpleasant experience, almost enjoyable, if it were not for the fact that she took off his mask, seeing his face and hair without the dye. X-23 breaks away from the kiss. Brown hair looks better on you. About to kiss him again. Yuki, not on my guard, daughter of controls a spider bot. Ayanokouji walked away in time. The police are coming. We have to go. Took his mask. X-23, they won't get here. I was going to do it, but a slight electric shock separated her. It was a spider bot that, although it did not show any facial features, looked upset. Yuki, if you put your lustful lips on my boss again, not even your regeneration will save you from the 7 days and 7 nights of torture that I will do to you. Only Ayanokouji heard her. X-23, well, the night ended well for us. Sits down on the floor. Ayanokouji, yes, he couldn't say how he felt. He doesn't even know how to feel. X-23, Laura, he sees her. It's my name. I don't go around with orifices. I was expecting her name. Ayanokouji, keep calling me Spider. Let's get out of here. Puts her on her feet. Laura, bored, follows him. Leaving the crime scene, Yuki sent a spider bot to scan the sentry and get some blueprints. Far from there, the duo was about to break up, which made Yuki happy since he doesn't like her. Laura, what do I do if I want to contact you? Will you give me your number? Ayanokouji, I don't have a cell phone. Remembers that she showed him her cell phone. This is better. Our protagonist gave him a small white and red spider-shaped device. Laura is looking for an answer. Ayanokouji, a tracker, just turn it on and I'll know that you want to see me. I'll know where you are when you do, was the answer. Laura, you know, it's easier to give me your cell phone than this, but what can I expect from a guy who dresses like an insect? Shrugs. Ayanokouji, Arachnid turns around. Goodbye, Laura, don't call if it's not important. The girl saw him jump away from the place. She stayed there for a few seconds looking at the device and put it away. Ayanokouji, with my luck, he'll call me for nothing in the air. Laura, if you want I can cut that tracker, she said. Returning to the living room that is now his lair, he left the chips and the altered Terrigen crystal he stole there. Ayanokouji, Yuki, little by little we will grow, so he won't be able to reach us easily. Looks at what he did so far. Yuki, boss, I know it's not a good time, but they went into their room once again. Ayanokouji, it's good that we got everything out before takes off suit. Yuki, I'd better not tell him that Horikita was there. I'll do that, looks at his boss taking off his clothes advantages of my job. With the necessary capital, Ayanokouji was ready to create his own company. What would he do there? Things here and there. Though the most important thing were other matters that concerned only Ayanokouji and Yuki. Chapter 10, A Break. A Break. Narrated by Eri Sakura. I'm not good at socializing. Whenever I tried, the words wouldn't come out of my mouth, so I was alone. Then they gave me a camera. I thought that would allow me to interact more, but that wasn't the case. I started taking photos, first of places and then of myself. I changed my appearance a little so as not to be recognized, and it worked. I used it as a way to express myself. I received compliments. The photos I had were popular. Even if I wasn't, it didn't matter. That until it started, a stalker, was one of the main reasons why I entered this academy. Here I thought I could start over. Well, mostly not, but the academy allowed me to continue with the photos. That brought me to this situation, and I regret it like you have no idea. End of narration. You might be wondering what Eri Sakura is referring to. Well, she was taking some photos when this happened. His classmate Sudo-ken was in a fight with some students from Class C. Something she noticed was that he didn't start the fight. It was all caused by those students from Class C. But it didn't matter anymore because he ended it. He didn't have many injuries, so he passed by without noticing Eri. She stayed there for a few seconds, managing to hear that everything went well in Ryuan's plan. Eri, a plan? What are they? Tries to move but makes noise. Hearing that noise, one of the students from Class C went to investigate. Unlike Sudo, he did pay attention to his surroundings. But he didn't find anything. He thought it wasn't something important, and, together with his classmates, they went to their classroom. Nothing? Are you sure? 2. Nothing escapes me. His eyes turned different shades. 3. Yes, tired. We go to the living room. Ryuan is waiting for us. They leave. When they left, Eri appeared. She turned invisible before they saw her. When everything was over, she also left. With Ayanokouji. He was in his safe room. In front of the multiple screens he could see several Alchemax files. Yuki. Ready, boss. A few more hours and you will be one of the youngest owners of a multi-decent company. Looks at the finances. Ayanokouji. Looks at the time. When it's over, let me know. Money isn't made by itself. He left. The AI nodded. She would take care of the company, while the owner went to high school. Our protagonist was walking calmly when he met a pink-haired girl, Eri. Ayanokouji. Good morning. Continues walking. Eri, nods. They both entered the room and took their respective places. When our protagonist sat down, he noticed Horikita Suzun's gaze. Ayanokouji, can I help you with something? Looks at her. Horikita, yes, interrupted. The girl was interrupted by Kanji Ike, who went straight to Ayanokouji and asked why he wasn't in his room yesterday. Ayanokouji, wait, how do they know I wasn't there? Ike, we went to look for you in your room and you weren't there, right, Horikita-san? Looks at her. Our protagonist also saw her. Did she go looking for him in his room? Nah. Horikita. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't pay attention. Ike, well, Sudo-kun was there and we didn't see you, right? Call him Sudo-kun? Now all eyes were on the red-haired human student who was very clueless. He barely responded. Ike, well, the point is that you weren't. Smiles. Where did you go? Ayanokouji. I would tell you, in exchange for the copy of the key. Ike gives it to him while I was on a date. Sincere. Such a statement surprised only the listeners, and Horikita turned her concentration away from the book to look at them. Ike, really? Surprised. Ayanokouji. No, I wanted to try the new coffee they brought out and I ran out of time. He retracts at the end. Ike, laughs. I was about to change my way of seeing you, Ayanokouji-kun, but oh well, what can I do? Retreats. With her departure, Ayanokouji went back to doing his thing, but this time Horikita spoke to him. Horikita. The coffee doesn't have a new presentation, right? Looks at him. Ayanokouji. That's right, he replied, but that doesn't affect you, does it? Horikita. As long as your performance doesn't diminish with respect to reaching Class A, was her response, as the contract states. Ayanokouji. The contract that you forged sees it, and don't worry, It was something casual. For research it was true. Horikita. Research, I didn't believe it. The conversation concluded and the sensei arrived to give her class. But before she gave a statement regarding Suru, he was called to the office to talk about the fight he had with the students of Class C. Suru clenches his fist angrily. They started it. I just defended myself, speaks. Chabashira. That will be clarified in the meeting at the end of classes. For now, pay attention, class begins. Although everyone was silent, faint whispers could be heard, how troublesome Suru was and that all the problems were caused by him. Ayanokoji also heard it but thought differently. Going after Suru was very smart. After all, he already saw that he was the most volatile in the class. Yuki. Boss, I already heard. Any plans? Ayanokouji. I don't, whispered she does, thinking about Horikita. Our protagonist could not act freely, raising suspicions. Now was the time where Horikita Suzun proved to be useful. End of the first hour. With Ryuen. This one was in his class. There was a deathly silence in it. Nobody spoke, only the 3 students who followed the orders of the king of Class C. Ryuen. So, Komiya, Ishizaki and Kandu, they let themselves be beaten, right? Seize them. The 3 of them nodded. As ordered, they provoked him and fought, letting each other win. Ishizaki. Yes, Ryuen-kun nods, although it was not a big deal, it hit us hard, touches his wounds. The king of Class C saw the wounds of his companions. They were right. They were not a big deal, they needed more. Ryuen. Yeah, it's no big deal, hits him in the face. In front of his entire class, the king began to hit Ishizaki's face. He had to be as convincing as possible. Then the others followed. He deformed their faces with all the beating he gave them. When he finished, he stood up and an African-American student handed him a towel with which he cleaned his hands. Ryuen. Poor thing, smiles, look how that savage from Class D left them. Now go and do your job. Return to Class D. Classes were over. Ayanokouji was now the owner of a very small company. It was his job to make it grow, but now he had to prevent Suru from being expelled. And how would he do that? Well, Ayanokouji, come on? Horikita sees him. Are you going to let him be expelled just like that? Horikita. With his book we already helped him. Now that he got into trouble again, we don't have to do anything, and I don't owe you anything. I say the last thing. Ayanokouji. Tell me, Horikita, if we let Suru go and later we need his athletic abilities, what do you think would happen? Horikita. Stops reading. You put a lot of faith in the capabilities of a human. Looks sideways. Ayanokouji. I'm also human, did you forget? And you know how unpredictable high school is. You never play with a full deck, but not with missing cards either, was what he said. Horikita began to think. The analogy he used was unnecessary, but it made a point. Sighing tiredly, she stands up, putting the book away. Horikita. If you waste my time, you better prepare your points. I'll ask you for a coffee. Serious, and moves forward. Ayanokouji. You won't regret it, follows her. Yuki. Boss, bad news. As ordered, I looked for recordings of the attack, but nothing. That area has no cameras. Bad news. Ayanokouji. Do you have any good ones? Whisper. A message arrived on Ayanokouji's phone. A photo of a pink-haired girl with a camera in her hands leaving the crime scene. Ayanokouji. For now this will suffice, continues walking. Following Suru and the sensei, who didn't look surprised to see the couple accompanying them, they entered the room that would serve as an auditorium for this hearing. It seemed like everything would turn out well, but no, since the one inside was the student council president, Horikita's brother. With him present, Horikita Suzun could not be at 100% of her capabilities. Ayanokouji knew that very well, but he still wouldn't do anything. This first audience would serve to test the waters. I'll skip the hearing for memory reasons. I don't quite remember how things happened. When it was over, it seemed like Class C had gained a part of the advantage, and Suru's temper didn't help matters. Suru, those bastards, hits a wall. Horikita. Denying them now will not help. You are also to blame, she said. Annoyed, Suru turned to look at Horikita and grabbed her by the neck, but the girl showed no signs of fear or any change in her usual serious expression. Yuki, come on, break that smug face she has. I was expecting that. Suru, it's my fault? Angry, they started this. Horikita. Yes. But you played along and look where you are. You should know that your actions have consequences. Releases. It's time for you to mature and leave that childish attitude. Starts to walk. Leaving the red-haired boy and Ayanokouji, the latter also decides to leave. He saw him very angry and would prefer not to be in his explosion radius in case he wants to hit something. This path ended up next to Horikita, who told him what Ayanokouji was expecting. Horikita, you made me waste my time. Seriously. Ayanokouji, really? I didn't see you being very cooperative at the meeting. It was obvious your brother is there. Continues walking. Horikita, what do you mean? Looks at him. Ayanokouji, I say take your own advice. Your brother has no power over you. Keeps moving. Now let's go get that coffee, I promise you, but please let it be a cheap one. My curtain hurts for some reason. Later. Ayanokouji was planning to spend some quiet time and then go on patrol, but no, all because the boys from the classroom gathered again in his room. Ayanokouji, I thought you gave me the copy of the key sitting on the floor. Ike, I gave you mine, so we used Sudokun's friend. You have to calm down. They see him. Part of the intention of the meeting was to calm Sudo down, who was causing a stir, so they removed him from his starting position and temporarily banned him from the club until the matter was resolved. Sudo sounded like an animal while eating. Ayanokouji, please clean up before you leave. Tired. This is more tiring than going out to fight. Yuki, don't worry, I have some cleaning spiderbots preparing them. Ike, why don't we change the subject? Thinking I know, let's talk about men's things. What girls like. That question may have lowered the tension between the others a little, but for Ayanokouji it was something else. That was because he didn't have a specific taste. Actually, he didn't have any taste in general. Yamauchi, friend, I don't have to think about it too much. Kushida-san is the perfect girl. I think about her. Ike, hey, that's not fair. I saw her first. You have to choose another. Faces him. Yamauchi, I'm sorry, but I can't. Don't you mind a little competition? Laughs nervously. Ike, growling, you'll see, you'll have no hope against me. Tries to calm down. Sudo, what are your tastes? Sudo, that is an impediment to my athletic development, but if I had to choose it would be one with my same abilities. He was sincere about that. Ike, very good. Looks at our protagonist. And you, Ayanokouji? Yuki, describe my boss to me. Raises hand. Ayanokouji, me? Well, thinking I would be a girl with a strong character, intelligent in her own way, rude at times. He wanted to describe X-23 since she was the only girl he interacted with correctly. Ike, you just described. Horikita laughs. Ayanokouji, huh? No, I'm not. Ike, calm down. We all know you like Horikita. We'll keep it a secret. Makes the sign of silence. Ayanokouji, no, but I tries to fix it but can't. Ike, well, let's continue. Of the girls in our class, don't you think they're pretty? Let's leave Kushida-san aside, please. She beats them all. Yamauchi, I couldn't say. That girl with pink hair is pretty and her breasts are very big, but nah. Ike, yes, Kushida-san's breasts. I can only imagine how it would feel. Perverted thoughts. Ayanokouji, weren't you the one who let us leave Kushida-san aside? Sees him. Ike, ignores him. That Hirata-kun is very lucky. He already has a girlfriend and he can do all the perverted things he wants with her. Angry. Ayanokouji, you just want a girlfriend to do that? Sudo, wait, screams, scaring everyone. Yamauchi, friend, what's wrong? Wipes himself. Sudo, I just remembered the girl with pink hair. She. Ike, what? Do you like it? Sudo, no, he sees it. She was there. Remembering she was there when they provoked me. She is a witness. Looks at Ayanokouji. I don't remember the name, but it doesn't matter. For some reason Ayanokouji felt like he was against a wall. Sudo walked up to him and told him that she could be a key witness. Ayanokouji, yeah, but I. Sudo, please tell Horikita-san about this. She can listen to you and you could help me. Grabs him by the neck. Ayanokouji, I. Sudo, please, if you do it he will be your friend until you die. Serious. Ayanokouji, yes, but why should I die? Remembers his line of work. Okay. The only good thing about the day for Ayanokouji was not having to think of a plan for Horikita to find Sakura, since Sudo remembered. And even though it may not seem like it, Today was a day of rest for Superior Spider-Man, unfortunately not for Ayanokouji. Chapter 11, Courage 4. Courage 4. Unknown location. At some point in high school we can see Ryuin and his entourage. They walked until they met a girl with white hair and a limp. She used a cane for that reason. Well? I think Class D is giving you problems. Smiles. Ryuin. Minor setbacks, nothing one can't avoid. Smiles. Someone like you feels that confident? Pretends surprise. What a surprise. Ryuin. Answers I'll get rid of Class D and go up to Class B was his statement. Can you be so sure? Ryuin. Of course. Look of perseverance. Only one king is needed. He was talking about himself. What do you say? Looks away. What a beautiful sunset. The next day. We find ourselves on a normal day before school. Ayanokouji was walking alongside Kushida and a grumpy Horikita. Horikita. You already wasted my time yesterday, now you want to try again? Ayanokouji. Suda-kun remembered the pink-haired girl. If we talked to her she would be a crucial witness to avoid our classmates' expulsion. Poker face. Kushida. I agree with Ayanokouji-kun. Lively as always. Come on Horikita-san, let's team up like before. Horikita. Do whatever you want. If it goes well I will take care of the meeting. It will be your job to convince the girl. Looks at them. Ayanokouji. Something is something. Keeps walking. The three of them entered the classroom. Seeing the pink-haired girl, she was sitting there, doing nothing, remaining silent without talking to others. Ayanokouji. Yuki whispers. Yuki. Her name is Eri Sakura. She is 16 years old. She was born on October 16th. She is inhuman. Her ability is not mentioned. She is 1.53 tall. Her measurements are 96-60. Interrupted. Ayanokouji. That information is enough. He stopped her in time. Now how do we get closer? Kushida. Leave it to me, said the queen of communication. It won't be very complicated. Our protagonist saw the girl go towards the light red, almost pink hair, and tried to talk to her. He saw how Kushida approached somewhat intensely, scaring Sakura a little. The girl jumped slightly and seemed to stutter. She wanted to leave but Kushida intervened again, wanting to talk to her more. This time Eri got more excited and fell to the floor. A camera came out of her pocket and hit the floor, breaking. Eri. And no picks it up. My camera. Ayanokouji. We better intervene. Approaches. When our protagonist approached them, Eri was picking up her camera and to her relief her memory was intact. Kushida. I'm sorry, let me fix it. Eri. And don't worry, I still have a guarantee. I'll go now. Bows and left. They both watched her leave, grabbing her camera. Kushida looked at Ayanokouji, searching for a solution. Ayanokouji. I don't know about these things. I managed to hear the warranty. It's a pity that your camera broke. If we could fix it. Kushida. Remembered. Yes. Are you free in the afternoon? Ayanokouji. Huh? In the afternoon. Our protagonist was getting dressed to go out. Kushida told Eri that as an apology they would accompany her to fix the camera. Yuki. Boss, I already told you. He looks handsome with whatever he's wearing. Looks at her and the company is doing well. I managed to contact some of the Alchemax scientists. Ayanokouji. Okay, send the schematics of the Sentinel that we copied. I need you to miniaturize it and turn it into, well, a suit. Finishes combing his hair. Yuki. Do you plan to fight more boss mutants? Looks at him. Ayanokouji. Who knows? I also need contingencies against Inhumans. Leaves the room. Leaving the apartment complex, our protagonist walks until he reaches the mall. There he saw Kushida waiting for him with his clothes to go out. He had to admit, she looked pretty with that, even though his spider sense warned him to stay away. Yuki. She looks ugly. Looks at her. Kushida. Ayanokouji-kun waves. You arrived earlier than I expected. Smiles. Ayanokouji-kun. You too, sorry to keep you waiting. Apologizes. Kushida. No, denies. I just arrived. Shall we go for a walk? Before Sakura-san arrives, turns around. They both continued walking through the mall, looking at the different stores. Kushida. Curious, isn't it? The boy sees her look at all these things, these places. We have everything we need in here. How much did this cost? Yuki. According to my estimates, around half a. Interrupted. Ayanokouji. A lot of money, that's for sure. I didn't want to know to avoid the pain in my pocket. Kushida. Oh, looks at the time we have to meet. Sakura-san walks a little faster. Come on, come on. Ayanokoji. Spider sense this keeps worrying me. Looking at Kushida. With all three together. The trio was heading to the electronics area. A very shy Sakura could be seen in the middle of the three. Kushida tried to break the ice, but it was not possible with the girl with light red, almost pink hair. She remained focused on her camera. Ayanokoji. You must really like photography, was the only thing he said. Eri, huh? Why, yes, something I didn't see. Kushida. It's a good hobby. Smiles. Do you take photos of landscapes? Yuki. Boss, look what I found of her. Sends images to Ayanokoji's cell phone. Ayanokoji HM? Looks at photos of Sakura. Several photos arrived on our protagonist's phone, each and every one of his partner Sakura in different clothes, even in a bikini. Ayanokoji. More than landscapes, apparently. I whisper. The three of them entered. The place was full of electrical appliances. Ayanokoji saw one or two things that interested him, especially their internal parts. Yuki. Yes, I think they can be useful. Looks at things. From inside the store a man came out, a worker of the place. He didn't look strange at all, until he exchanged glances with Sakura, then his gaze became very wicked. His name was Kusuda, or so the identification on his vest said. Kusuda. Well, smiles. How can I help you? Kushida. Looks at Eri. Let's go. Gives her a little push. Eri. Oh, she gave a small moan, and I want to guarantee the guarantee on my camera. She shows it. Kusuda. Whom takes it off? Let me see. I'll check. The atmosphere felt somewhat heavy. Our protagonist noticed Sakura's clear discomfort regarding the guy in front of her. And the expressions he gave did not help at all. He clearly looked excited, ecstatic, etc. After checking the camera, which did not have the SD memory since Sakura removed it, Kusuda reported that the warranty was still valid. Kusuda. Yes, the warranty still covers it, so the cost will be less. Puts away the camera and takes out some papers. Could you put your details here? Seriously? With that perverted face he comes to ask for her information? The sheet was to put the phone number, the address of her dorm, and other things that could be dangerous for a girl to share if it was the wrong person. Ayanokoji didn't know if Kushida had noticed or not, but she seemed to be unwilling to do anything about the situation in front of her, and once again Ayanokoji intervened. Ayanokoji takes the sheet and fills it with his information. I will fill it out. Looks at Sakura. When they call me I will contact you to give you the camera. No problem, right? Looks at the worker. Kusuda, does not hide his dissatisfaction as yes, no problem. Yuki, more subtle, right? Annoyed. Let's get him fired, boss. Kushida, good, happy, I'll pay. Takes out her phone. While the girl with too much positive energy pays, the girl with light red, almost pink hair thanks our protagonist. Sakura, thanks shy. Ayanokoji, it was nothing, I didn't see her. Shall we get out of here? In the food court. The trio went to get something to eat after the awkward situation, only for Sakura, but Kushida left the two alone to go get the food. Sakura, I didn't know what to say. Ayanokoji, same way, but it didn't matter. Yuki, boss, at least say something with a drop of sweat. Ayanokoji, resigned. Hey Eri jumps. Can I get a question right? Sakura, nods. Ayanokoji, when the Sudoku thing happened, you were there during the fight, right? Looks at her. Sakura, I know. Tries to deny it. Ayanokoji, I understand that you don't want to say what you saw. It must have been something terrifying for you. Am I wrong? Sakura said nothing. Ayanokoji, now Sudoku will be expelled for something that was started by Class C. Sakura lowers her head even more. Ayanokoji looks at her. You shouldn't lower your head. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just protecting yourself. Of course you let fear control your decisions. Sakura, is it wrong to be afraid? Ayanokouji, no, it's not bad to have it, it's bad to be influenced by fear. Take it from someone who lived with it almost since he was born. Sakura, Ayanokouji-kun's gaze. Ayanokouji, HM? Listens. Yuki, what's wrong with my boss's look? On the defensive. Sakura, You don't see me like other people, your gaze is colder. Ayanokoji, sorry for being born with this look, stops looking at her. Sakura, no, denies it doesn't bother me, I'm just curious, most people don't look me in the eyes. Yuki, yes they do, but something else draws their attention, laughs a little. Sakura, yes, I saw something they started, I have proof, looks at her memories, if I give it to you will it be enough? Ayanokoji, it will be something, but your testimony could have more weight with the evidence, looks at Kushida, think about it, don't let yourself be dominated by fear. When the girl arrived, the mood changed and they received the food. Kushida, and what did I miss? What did they talk about? Ayanokoji, from Sudoku-in, and his testimony takes his juice very sweet. Kushida, oh, straight to the point, as expected from Ayanokoji-kun, looks at Sakura, I don't scare you, do I? Ayanokoji, I have a scary face? I ask silently. Yuki, it's part of your beauty, boss encourages you. The trio continued talking and Kushida mentioned the importance of her testimony a couple of times. At the end of the day, Sakura didn't say anything about testifying or not, she just left the memory to Ayanokoji and left. He walked to the residences with Ayanokoji's words in mind, not to be controlled by fear. Sakura, it's not that easy, enters the building. The girl noticed that her mail was full, she went over to see her correspondence, and noticed several letters addressed to her with her name on them. Sakura hesitantly opens the first letter. Scared. She ended up throwing away that letter. She just mentioned before that one of the reasons she entered the academy was because of a stalker. That stalker sent her emails with obscene and offensive words. They wouldn't stop sending them, to the point of sending a photo where she was in her street clothes near her high school. And now that letter had the same photo and the same digital signature. Fear filled Aries' entire body. Why did you walk away? Don't you think we should be together? It was fate that we found you here. I can't stop thinking about you at night. And more things that if I put them, our sponsor gets sensitive. Sakura, no, not again, hyperventilates, not now, with clear desperation. Small tears came out of her eyes. She grabbed all the letters without wondering which ones were from the stalker or not and threw them in the trash. She tore up the one she opened next to the photo and threw it in. Sakura, not here, tries to calm down, not here, leans against the wall. Believing that there was no one there, he began to break down there, slowly falling, hugging his knees and activating his ability. But what she didn't know was that while she was crying, Ayanokoji was watching her. He was in his invisible mode, watching the whole scene with an expressionless look. Yuki, boss, are we going to intervene? For a while now, Ayanokoji felt a presence following them, especially Eri Sakura, so the moment they separated he went into camouflage mode and carefully followed her and the stalker. Luckily nothing serious happened, just this. Ayanokoji turns around and leaves the scene. Intervene if he could do it now, but what consequences would it have? Although he helped people as Superior Spider-Man, as Ayanokouji he would have to remain anonymous and occasionally move something like he would do now. Ayanokouji, doing something now won't help, let me gather some courage, retires.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.